premiere of a Netflix original series, and WWE is there represented, looking. Everyone is 10 out of 10, and I want one of these. Like, we need to be recognized as well. Oh, yay! So what I love about these crossovers, and I was just in Charlotte and I could have easily got Bojangles, is that so many people that live out of state, because Bojangles is southern as fuck, hit me up like, oh my god, like, what you can get at Bojangles? And I'm like, yeah, give me this one. But I also love that he is super busy outside of WWE. He was recently at what has been dubbed by the media as the wedding of the century. Let's watch this future world champion and Big E play EA Sports College Football 25. Did y'all peep Biggie's church shoes? He was playing EA Sports video game.
That man always looks like a pastor's son.
Right!
Oh,
and he actually was a pastor when he was younger. That's the funny part.
I can see that. That's why it's so well.
Exactly. That's why, and as you can see, like, how he talks, like, and how he delivers promos, that all comes from that church life. And the reason why I know that is because when I used to listen to New Day Pod, they would make fun of him about it. Yeah. And I always thought that was so funny.
No, facts.
So funny. I see the rest of the crew is here, but that was the latest edition of Where WWE Meets Pop Culture, which will now be live every Monday night before Raw. So you have to get into the tea, get to kiki with me about everything that's happening outside of the ring with your favorite wrestlers live every Monday. And I want everyone to come through because it's kind of fun, and it's things that you like really just don't know that like wrestlers are up to. Like seeing them on the red carpet and Bailey wearing Beaumont and just the little bits that I appreciate, because wrestling is everywhere. So next week we'll be definitely talking about Rhea Ripley and Rey Mysterio in Call of Duty and how that came to be. And we're gonna get spicy too and talk about Dana Brooke. What's her name?
Ashley Sabrina?
Ash by Elegance.
And oh fuck, what is her name?
Lacey.
Lacey Evans are doing an OnlyFans collaboration.
Who asked for this? Where do we sign up?
Exactly. So that's the news.
Research
Purposes. But that's the news that you're gonna find out on Where WWE Meets Pop Culture, because I have the important news. Like, you don't care about exactly. Because we could find wrestling fucking recaps everywhere. But my show is where you're gonna learn who's on the red carpet, who's in this new movie, who's in this new show, who's in doing this, and who's on that. Because WWE is slowly taking over the world. So we're gonna cover it all. And also other wrestling companies, because I think wrestling as a whole is taken over, and that's why we are covering all the women all across the world that are fucking killing it. Let's bring back the rest of the crew. Siendo B, hello, beautiful.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Everybody is good.
I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. Sorry, I just woke up, but really, I just had more train ride from hell days. But it's the last day. No more train rides from hell today.
Good.
Nice.
Good. I be having train rides from hell too. Them shits don't even be air conditioned sometimes.
And then New Jersey Transit has a nerve sit on the track yesterday for an hour. So I'm like,
yay! Train ride.
But after today, no more. I get to go back in my car and speed down the parkway per usual. So.
Yeah, I still got PTSD from New Jersey Transit. No, thank you.
The worst.
Thank you.
It can be the absolute worst. But you know what is not the worst?
Talk about it.
Women's wrestling.
Hey, you know this.
So we
watching NXT.
Right. So, and that's why I love this particular topic, because you can really go in on NXT Women's Division, Siendo, as the host of Watch What Happens NXT every Tuesday on those Wrestling Girls platforms. And make sure you follow the Instagram account as well. And we've been tuning in a little bit to AEW. We all are kind of tuned into TNA. Matt did mention earlier, shout out to Matt. He was in my DMs and he was asking if we're going to talk about Joshi. And I am not as in tune in the Japanese wrestling scene, but I think Siendo is.
A little.
Okay.
Lately, I had to get back on my game because I've realized that like Joshi, and I give the flowers to Ring of Honor for giving them that opening ever since they did the collaboration.
Nice.
In AEW. They've been exposing it enough, but there's so much more to go into. I just know that Marigold just happened. And EO showed her face against Sari, who used to be in WWE. But all in all, there's new promotions that are also coming up. I know a lot of people. Shikanban. I'm sorry if I'm not saying it properly. I know they're a new promotion. I know, and this is where wrestling meets pop culture because Sweetie is actually supposed to be a big fan, and she was there.
Yeah, she was
the last show and the new show coming soon. It's coming back to New York really well, so it's a lot of Yoshi stuff. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I'm not that knowledgeable. There are people a little bit more than me, but I can cover it a little bit, just solely based on like what I've seen, especially. Yeah, there we go. Matt can talk about that. That was amazing. Those were the two highlighted matches of the night, but also there were a lot of good matches too. It's Yoshi never really died when it came to women's wrestling. In fact, they just try and elevate themselves, and that's why you have the Julias and the Tamis and all that of the world. So it's slowly evolving. It's not just the buck doesn't just stop with EO. There's a lot more Japanese women wrestlers, as you just saw. I can't wait to dive into more of what's going on with AEW because I think that them bringing Maya and Mariah, who's actually a prodigy of the Yoshi style wrestling, who then is now in AEW, is your Owen Hart tournament champion. Then we know the aftermath after that. So when we dive into that, I'm gonna dive into where that goes. So,
got you. I did see clips from this match, Matt, online, and it really just kind of show. I like when like wrestlers or even just performers and artists in general like have these moments where they gotta like remind you who the fuck they are. And I feel like for EO, for me, of course she was going against some like fantastic competition, but for me in that match, it was EO Sky being like, yeah, like because WWE, I got my character work or whatever, but please don't forget that I am a fantastic ass, physical ass wrestler, and her moves are so clean and beautiful. It is such a joy to watch. Like it kind of reminds me of like the feeling I got like Owen Hart versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 10.
Yeah.
Like that match is so perfectly wrestled. Like you watch it and it like it just moves because you're just like everything is executed excellently.
And the fact the way they redid the match, like when you get the rebreast book and like they sat on the side and just changed the whole match.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's how I felt when I watched Charlotte Asuka. That exact.
Really?
Yes, the first one. Oh my! Well, WrestleMania 34. My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Just sitting there, and I was like, I just watched one of the greatest wrestling.
Fantastic
I do.
match.
That is in one of my top 5.
Wrong ending, but
matches.
Fantastic match.
Here we go.
Don't get me started.
I'm not gonna go there, but Asuka's another one that's like EO, and I think a lot of it is like you don't really get to see them in like their fully formed like style unless they're really in the ring with someone that can actually go with them. Like Asuka's a perfect example of like when you see her in WWE, it's kind of like 80% of what she could do because of the fact of you got to think of who's across from her. Not everyone's not on the same length of like experience or talent, or they can't handle the physicality, or they can't handle the speed. So when you see Asuka jump in there with like a Sasha or a Charlotte, for Asuka, it's like finally I got someone I can rock with, so I can use the entire playbook instead of like, all right, we gotta stick to these 15 plays because know your talent, know who you're working with. But if I'm right there with someone that can go, shit. And Io's another one that's like, yo, she can really fucking wrestle her ass off, but you also gotta keep in mind, same thing with Asuka, who she's working with, who she's across from. If they can't really hang with her, then you kind of got to dumb it down a little. The perfect example of this over the last couple, like even for the last decade in WWE has been Natty. Because how many times we
Yeah.
watch Natty's clips on social media about the dungeon? You're like, wait, why the fuck does she not do that in the ring on fucking TV? And it's like, well, look at Natty's job. Natty is usually the gatekeeper to the call ups, or like the women
Right.
who are now new to the main roster and getting used to the WWE style, and
She's
maybe
almost
they
like the
can't wrestle
female
at that
Vanna White.
speed. You know, you can't go 100 miles an hour out the
Mm.
gate. It's like, all right, we gotta actually take this down to like 45 miles an hour, see if you can handle this. Then
Yeah.
let's see if we could drive up to like 60 miles an hour, see if you can handle this.
That's the perfect way to describe it, in my opinion. I do want to shout out. So we are live on YouTube and Facebook as well as Twitch tonight because our Twitter connection got disconnected. So there are people in the building whose comments are not coming up. I do want to shout out Fam from Black Wrestling who is in the comments. And also welcome new people because this is usually a Twitch exclusive show. So our YouTube subscribers, Mongazy and Eddie James. Hello. Welcome. Okay, so it looks like Andre also agrees about that.
Oh, he
That's
agrees.
a match. But let's talk about her. Because I know, yes, I know that Brian, you kind of have history with Roxanne, like you've known her from the Baltimore scene, and I interviewed her during WrestleMania, and Siendo is the NXT queen. So let's talk about our current NXT Women's Champion right now.
Yes. I've said so. I remember watching Roxanne heavily in Reality of Wrestling and all that. Then when, you know, right before Ring of Honor went under, you know, they had the whole championship. And I remember her and Willow Nightingale. You know, everybody remembers the iconic photo. Man, I wish I had my Strictly for the Culture cup. But you remember the photo where all the black wrestlers from Ring of Honor put their fist up. Well, that same night was when Roxanne and Willow Nightingale put on a banger. And that was the first time I ever seen her get booed. She was like, you know, when she came in NXT, same thing. She was just this ultra baby face. And I remember thinking, like, man, I gotta see more character depth. Last year around this time, y'all may remember me saying it, maybe even here. And you see what she's doing now in NXT. It's like she's like this little arrogant prick, and you're just like, yo, you want somebody to shut her up. Jordan Grace couldn't do it. You know, Lola Vice couldn't do it. And it's been beautiful to watch the evolution of the character. Somebody in a group chat was saying, like, you know, AJ 2.0. And we all, like, she's been very vocal, like, that's her wrestling mom. And AJ Lee has told her, no, I want you to be better than me.
Nice.
You know, and I don't like playing the whole you're this version of, you know, this year's, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's, but women's wrestlers have it hard enough. Like, I want to see and respect them for their individuality. And it's been fun watching her. You know, every week on NXT, she's must-see TV because you don't know what she's going to say out of her mouth. Yesterday, shout out to Matt. He hit me up. It's like, you know, she mentioned Julia's name and Stephanie Valkyria's name. And it's like, yeah, y'all say, oh, y'all going to take out Roxanne, this, that, and the other. And Roxanne is like, she see everything people were saying, and she just keep applying pressure. And she's proven why she's women's champion. I've said this before, and I'm sticking by it. And I know people think I throw this term out there a lot. Future WrestleMania main eventer. When you think about a women's wrestler, because I believe that we will see in the next 5 years where night one may be reserved for the women's match, pending having the best stories. If this was a 2-night SummerSlam, glad it's not. But if this was a 2-night SummerSlam, I know Cody and Solo has been doing their thing, but to me, your two main events would be Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley on one night, and Drew McIntyre and CM Punk on the other. Sorry about your world titles, but the women's world title.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I just think those are, like, when you look at WWE right now, those are the top two stories. And I think with Roxanne's ability and her way that she continue to grow, I think she's going to have that ability to do that one day.
I agree.
You better get in here, Ciendo, Miss NXT.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, girl. What's up?
I'm about to say, like, I'm tagging you in yourself.
So listen, I had to humbly eat my words. Me and Pablo, shout out to the birthday person, all part 2.
Happy birthday!
Because on an episode of Watch for NXT, I was so frustrated with her character as the Prodigy that I was almost like, if you don't turn heel right the hell now, like me, well, I'm gonna come down there and I'm gonna fight you because I know you got it in you. Like you're talking about somebody who was the youngest Ring of Honor champion when she was Roxy. You're talking about someone who literally we've heard the story. She took the bus to Booker T school and learned, and I'm like, okay, sis, we know, girl, but like. The way they were treating her on NXT, man, I was like, girl, I'm about to fight for you. Like you need to change. You need to change. You need to turn heel. And I know if you do it, you're gonna be. It needs to be off of the. It needs to not be off the woo is me type shit, and it needs to be off the I'm about this business shit. Like I am the business. Like I was birthed into the business. That little Roxanne you saw on Total Divas, that was me plotting from the beginning, and so far so good.
Hey,
second
Krista.
time, first run was the I could do it all kid, and it, like I said, well deserved. She deserved that. Like she's not somebody who should have been slow poked. The way her rise went in NXT is the way it was deserved because she knows the business already. She's not somebody you need to teach in the PC center. Teach her WWE style, yes, but not somebody that needs to learn how to wrestle like an NIL or someone who's junior wrestling since they were a kid and they got a lucky tryout WWE. Not that. Second time now, when I said all this woo's me type shit ain't gonna work for me, I need you to do some we need you to slap Booker T and tell him shut the hell up, stop. Like you ain't never teach me nothing. Like me and Pablo were disrespectful, and that's why I say I eat my words. Because so far, she's been eating this run to where a lot of people didn't understand why Mandy Rose's longest reign made sense. But if they give the longest reign to Roxanne Perez right now, that would make more sense for me. Because this is someone who's done it all, seen it all, gone up against everybody. She's done such a great job at being heel. Like from being flashbacks of someone who used to be pissed off in an authoritative figure. Because remember when CM Punk used to get under John Laurinaitis' skin?
Yes.
No insults going back and forth. That's what that gives me. So she's doing a great job there. I'm telling you, there's been matches that I say like, listen, this should have been main event shit. And I understand the hype of Trick Williams because that's my guy. Love me some Trick Williams. But there's some matches that she's had that should have been like, this needs to close her race, first of all, and that match with Lola Vice that just happened, second of all, should have been closers. No if and about it. Should have been closers. They were good.
I don't know about the Lola one, but
the Lola one was good. I'm sorry. That should have been.
It's just it's a hell of a lot of pressure on Lola, who hasn't been in that position to be like, yeah, go main event in front of like a large crowd.
She can handle it. I feel like she can handle it.
That's a tough ask for Lola.
So easily match of the night though, definitely over certain matches, and that's why I said I'm just gonna block the words OWON and other people that run it because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So when I look at her and I look at her evolution, and I was worried about her heel one, I was very, very worried. Now I'm not worried no more. Like she just, and that's why I'm so interested because last night I'm gonna dive into it. Her match against Thea, a lot of people are like, wait, like her going up against like people like Jordan Grace and Mita Satomura and having the run that she's had, and then she's gonna go up against Thea. Well, look at Thea. Like Thea is one of those girls, and I'm talking probably top 5 that have learned a lot from WWE in the PC Center that have actually have evolved perfectly. And what not give somebody that type of opponent, especially to Roxanne, if you're gonna give me a 2-night, Great American Bash, then Thea, like, come on, for you to be 20, know how to do a Kimura lock, that's just as fresh as if Brock Lesnar was doing it. I'm sorry, give you a title match any time of the day, and let's see where the story goes. So
Right.
I'm just getting back to Roxanne. I'm just proud of her of like what she's doing, how she's taking her character, and for her last night to go listen. Oh, well, what happens when Julia comes and stuff? She's like, bitch, I ain't worried. Like, bring them. Like, come on now. Like,
I got no
bitch,
worries.
that's what you
Yep.
got.
No worries.
I'm
Yep.
ready to have fun. She's in her Harley Quinn era. And that's what I think it is. With the way she cut that promo last night, she's like, "Oh, you're gonna throw spikes on the ground as I drive into your bank. Throw more. Like, what else you got? You got
Oh, I love that kind of energy.
So that's what energy she gives, and I'm proud of her for having that energy. And this heel run has just been 10 out of 10 for me. Like, she can
10
do
out
a
of
face,
10.
she can do a heel. Like,
I agree.
and it's just it. Listen, bring it. Like, if you're gonna bring Julia at the stage, do it. Because I guarantee you, people will be surprised if she clocks Julia out the way too. I wouldn't be surprised at this point because she can handle it.
And let's be real, it's more fun to be a heel. And there's less pressure. Like, to be the baby face that they were trying to make her into, like, it's almost impossible to live up to that. You know, like, I kind of almost felt bad for her when they put the title on her and was calling her the prodigy, because it's like, ooh, now you have to like be that. Kind of like Braun Breaker, like, you know, like Scandal called that perfectly, where she was just like, nah, he's gonna need to turn heel, he's gonna need to get a little bit more aggressive, like, or this ain't gonna work. And that's exactly what he did.
And that's why we gotta salute people like Bailey, who was able to carry that babyface run for so long, and even as a champion, be able to represent.
Shout out to Bailey. She was on Cody Rhodes' podcast, and she talked
Cody
about
Rhodes has a podcast.
Oh yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Cody Rhodes
yes.
has a podcast.
On his bus.
But nobody told me though.
Oh, I'm
sorry. I did. I told you. I say another wrestling podcast.
And it's on his bus.
Yeah.
The bus with his goofy dog on it.
Quay PR, Brian H. Warriors, Hell in a Cell match, live next.
And they were drunk. Oh my god, how entertaining!
And wait,
maybe one day I'll check it out.
It's sponsored by Weekly Vodka.
Nah, I was drinking that shit all day long in Philly.
Listen, nobody was complaining when it was at Chicky Pete's taking them.
I was about to say.
So let's not say
that's why Krista wants to go to Chicky and Pete's so much. Although I'm so down because it's so good.
I mean, good food, good drink. Shout out to Chicky and Pete's.
Yes.
So let's talk about Julia. No, go ahead, Sandal.
I was gonna say real quick. Listen, I already say I apologize to anybody that called Vanilla, but I called it for Roxanne because I'm just like, if you look at it, people like to call Cody Rhodes Homelander. Like, she kind of had a Homelander moment, because even when she went out there and she was like, I've done everything for you guys, I've been your hero, I've been your prodigy, and y'all came out here, and then I had to agree with her. The moment that Becky came out after winning the NXT Women's Championship, and Roxanne, who I always said deserves to be a 2-time champ, came out and people started booing her. I was like, oh, y'all ain't shit. She definitely about to turn on y'all. Like, y'all are not shit from here to the toilet, because that's crazy. Like, somebody used to be like, y'all have loved this girl. Y'all were cheering for her when she was your deadline winner. Y'all were concerned when she passed out in the ring. And y'all got the nerve to boo.
Oh, that's what I feel like where they went wrong with Roxanne when they tried to.
Yeah, like y'all tried it. Like, and I heard in her interview, she was like, I went back there and I cried because I didn't get it. And shout out to Adrian Hernandez who asked that question, because he's become the I'm not afraid to answer that question and go there person. He literally said, he was like, it was weird hearing people, boo you. And she was like, yeah, after that promo I cried. And it was actually, Becky Lynch who spoke to me and told me, this is just a moment, like cheer up, you're worth it. And so when you see her heel run, she's like, all right, I'm done listening to y'all. I'm just here to do what I came to do, and that's win belts. That's have gold strapped around my waist, because the playing field here is a lot of women and limited titles. And until they start introducing these titles, I'm gonna hold this one. So that's all I had to say about that. Well deserved.
And I like that she was saying that, I'm ready for all comers, because we were talking about this on Turnbuckle Talk the other day, where like the state of that women's division in NXT and how fucking loaded it is as constructed, and now you're adding 2 highly regarded talents in Stephanie Vaquer and Julia to that, like, shit.
Ooh, I'm so ready for that. Let's talk about Julia for a second because this was brought up in the comments about a steel plate on her arm. Can anyone give me some context on this?
She has her and Logan Paul, I think, share the same injury, except Logan Paul had his whole arm, right? I think his whole fist or his whole arm is
I think Logan is the fist.
right, but she had the same injury, so she has a steel plate for a fractured bone in her arm, I believe. So it's just I forgot what they call it, not a Pfizer bone, to cover the Pfizer bone, but it's something along those lines. I feel like I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna just look it up while we continue.
I'm very curious. So how did you guys feel when you guys, because of course there was the rumors everywhere about her getting signed. Did you guys actually think it was gonna happen? Are you guys excited for it?
You could ask Pablo. I almost fell down the stairs at Stand Deliver when I saw the people cheering, and I looked up and it was her, and I was like, oh
yeah, when they did the old school NXT,
yeah,
with the pants to the new talent that got signed, it was like, and she stood next to Regal. I was like, I don't even think she expected her notoriety to be that high, because when she saw her face on the screen and she heard people like cheering, she honestly looked flabbergasted. And she looked up and they were like, stand up, and she like looked around and she was like, okay. She was like, I see what this is. I see where the viewer, I see what's going on here. Like, all right. People caught on because people started paying attention to Stardom, especially like everyone was hyping up Stardom the last year and the matches she was having over there and what those wonderful women were doing in the match they were putting on. We're like, Stardom got a lot of love. I think they were highly ranked on the was it PWI Women's 150. You saw a lot of Stardom, like especially like top 10, where it's like, if you're not paying attention, go pull up this shit. And Julia was one of the names where it's like, yo, I remember watching was it All Star Queendom when Mercedes went over there to wrestle and called Julia's match, and it was just like, where have you been all my life? What the fuck? Now I see why Asuka's the way she is. Now I see why Io's the way she is. But Julia was just like, yo, if she comes over here stateside, I am fucking in. So when they announced her at Stand and Deliver in Philly, I was like, God is good. Look at God. My lips to his ears, and he said, boom, I got you.
Yeah, it was perfect, by the way, because they were like, oh, the rumor mill's always spilling, and like I said, they've done a good job at gatekeeping. So I'm just like, listen, whenever I see her is when I see her at this point, because I don't do dirt sheets that much anymore. Whatever I see on Twitter, unless it's you guys or it's Fightful, I don't really trust it that much. But when Fightful didn't even really know, and then I see it, I'm just like, oh shit. Like, this is real. And then I'm realizing, like, I'm like, all right, what's going to happen with her dates? Because she's supposed to be doing this, she's supposed to be doing that. And they're letting her play out the role. And they're like, not yet. Like, not yet.
I love the slow burns these days, too.
Yeah, so it's just, I know a lot of people are concerned because the way that Io is now. But remember, they've let Io shine significantly well. We of course want them to do more because we just know her abilities. We know what she can do, but you never know what's gonna happen when you have new blood. So that's why I'm like, if she comes to and that's the thing right now, I'm like, is she really gonna go to NXT? You're talking about somebody who's done so much in a career of 30. Do they really need to be on NXT? Don't you think they deserve the cane? Like, that was kind of like if you send AJ Styles to NXT instead of sending him to main roster. He was the hottest free agent then. Julia's kind of 1 in 5 of the hottest free agents. So she really needs to go to NXT right now. Would it be good for me personally? Yes. Would it be good for WWE to just be like, here you go, sis, like you fit the mold, you 30, like you've done everything you possibly do. You've had every belt ranked in New Japan, in Stardom, and you've put on banger after banger. Like, the main roster can have you first.
That's a good point.
If you feel like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a great point, and I want to know what some of the VIPs in the club feel about Julia. Do you think she should go straight to the main roster? Do you think she should start in NXT? Because she is a star. I feel like she has a lot to bring to the table. And thank you, Krista, for a time check. AEW is on. We do watch it as a family. So Eddie, do what Cal said and just watch it all at the same time. Just get your devices ready. And we just gonna watch everything.
Not important. Keep rocking with us. Keep rocking with AEW. Right now, it's Ospreay and MJF for one of the 19 titles AEW has.
Hashtag
Listen.
Hogan Goldberg on free television.
Oh my God, that is so accurate. That is so.
But to bring it to what you asked, I was saying Julia needs to go to NXT, and here's why.
That's so
Come
true.
on, Scarf.
Thank you, girl.
But here's why Julia needs to go to NXT, and this is something I've been saying for a couple fan clubs, which is don't rush it. This goes back to what they did with Jade Cargill, and you've seen WWE do this with Asuka and Io when they first came over. Because if you put them on the main roster, you need to have something for them to do immediately. Like with AJ, they capitalized on AJ's popularity because it was Rumble, and it was Rumble in Orlando, where that crowd knew AJ Styles and they were familiar with him, and they were able to capitalize because then you pair him immediately with Chris Jericho, Y2 AJ, and that leads to your WrestleMania match. And you're immediately doing something with AJ with a face that people know. You're capitalizing off the Wrestle Kingdom 10 match where it's just hyped, and you're going into WrestleMania 32. And you look at the state of the main roster right now, Rhea and Liv are locked in. Unfortunately for Zelina and all the other women on Raw, that's about to be Rhea and Liv for a while. They're about to be locked in for that title. And then on the other side, you have Bayley, who's about to face Nia. You have Tiffany with the Money in the Bank over there. Will she, won't she? But that's why we got to stay tuned. And you got a loaded ass roster over there where it's like, where does Julia fit? You're just now getting Blair Davenport on TV. You're just now getting more consistent stuff for Naomi. You still have Bianca and Jade that you got to figure out. You still have your own women's tag team champions that are mainly on SmackDown that are going to be floating. So if you're going to put Julia on the main roster, what do you really have for her? And if the question is, we don't know, then you don't put her on the main roster. You let her go into NXT. You let her get acclimated to the WWE style. You know, that's something that we've heard behind the scenes from those outlets we don't mention, where people have to get acclimated, because how you wrestle in Japan, in Stardom, and all these other companies is not how WWE gets down. And you see, even WWE is different from AEW. So for some people, it's a learning curve and an adjustment. And it's something where, like, I look at with Asuka, they didn't rush. Like, go back to TakeOver Brooklyn. Right before Sasha and Bayley, they show you Kanna's right there. But you don't get Kanna immediately. It took a little bit where Bayley became champion. Bayley moves away from Sasha, and then quietly they started working Asuka in the mix when Bayley went to go face Nia in London. And the same thing with Io, where they took their time with Io. They didn't rush it. And that's the plan that you have with Julia, especially where you have this loaded NXT roster. She has a lot of toys to play with. Sean's like, yo, I just got a Maserati, and you can always do Julia, Jada Parker, Julia, Lola Vice, Julia, and name everyone except Roxanne and Kalani who have the titles.
I'm about to have a Booker T live type of heart condition. You just mentioned like two of the best matches I want to see so bad. Like when I tell you the way I'm eating, and I know it could happen. I'm waiting for a Kalani Jordan and Julia match. Like I can see it happening just solely based on the fact of the athleticism. There's so many people that match her. She can go with most athletic of athletic. So it makes me excited that she's gonna have this caliber of matches. It was only bringing it to the point of, like I said, like it's gonna pander me to interest me if she doesn't go to NXT, what the main roster is gonna have for her, because like a lot of people, when I be real honest, I thought that Jade was gonna end up at NXT, but they were like, no, it's okay. Like we got you over here, and they've done a great job in pairing her with Bianca. So it would just be interesting of like, listen, Damage Control is kind of on the rocks, and who knows Julia better than Io, and if without Asuka being there right now, would bode a lot of sense. So that's what my mindset was being. But it
could be really good.
I mean, Lady Wood with the two matches you just mentioned. So I'm gonna just let it.
I think it could work either way. Honestly, I do want to welcome Brian Cervantes to the stream. Yes, welcome to Those Wrestling Girls, and my sis Krista B is in the comments. But we have been creating content around women's wrestling on YouTube for 6 years almost now.
Coming up on the big 6.
Yes, so welcome. Please subscribe. We stream about 3 times a week now, sometimes 4. And then we have a network, and Justin's on a couple other platforms. So welcome. This is a TWG Fan Club, our weekly wrestling fan club, where we just talk about everything wrestling. This week, it's the state of women's wrestling all over the world. I also want to welcome back Dylan, who has not been in the club in a while. We love you.
My brother from over in
Tell
down
you, man, that man be fighting them kangaroos in Australia. That's why he be busy.
You
Yeah,
say,
gang,
yo,
gang.
stay away from them kangaroos. Stay away. Okay, let's switch gears and let's talk about this.
Yes, please, because Yes,
let's
please.
get into this because this is probably one of my, and I see the other matches that you guys have put in the comments. I'm saving those. Don't worry, we're gonna get into it.
Can I just say what
welcome
I
back,
always
Brian. We
said?
love you.
Yeah,
Can I
see,
just
no
say I
routine
always
is up
said-
for you. Go
Do
off.
it.
I told y'all so. Because
Go
everybody
off.
was like, because first of all, everybody was like, no, it's too early. The
We
whole
love
prize
you,
thing is drinking.
Dylan.
And I'm like, I think this girl gonna really sit here and be under Toni Storm's boobage for the longest time. No, it's cute because Toni Storm loves to be, because she's a Hollywood darling. First of all, that's her gimmick, which we love for Toni Storm, by the way, because we know how her story was in WWE. We're glad she's having the creative choice she gets at AEW, and she's nailing it.
Yes.
But however,
Mhm.
yeah, sleep on Mariah May, because a lot of people when I was excited that she was, unfortunately I was sad she was leaving Stardom and the New Japan fraction, because that was kind of like her, like Club Venus was her and Mina basically like being fun, clean Playboy bunnies. Let's just be real, they were being vixens the Japanese way and being sexy and being themselves. And then when she left, it was tearful, but I was like, she's either gonna go to WWE and learn on the PC, but I lean like her heart's gonna go to AEW. So when she got to AEW, I was like, oh, she's in her era. She's about to kill it through the way. And what surprised me is that it didn't happen sooner. But the Owen Hart finale being finally the way it is, their story culminating to being mom and daughter kind of mentor, and Toni kind of just like, listen, you're just here, but you're cute, so I'm gonna keep you. Fast forward, Toni's now starting to have feelings for her being there, and you can tell because now she's like, listen, I'm so proud of you, bosom, and you hold my shoe, and I'm gonna be under your bosom. And it was just like, I'm like, this is slowly, I wanted the heel turn to happen so much sooner, like with the whole Mina thing, but now that it's looking like she's about to win this Owen Hart tournament, it's gonna happen either during or after the tournament. And shout out to Crispy in the comments, because we got to we got to Forbidden Door, she had won because of Toni. So once I saw that happen, all right, now Toni's guard is completely down. She's down for her admirer. She's proud of her mentee. It's going to not go the way people think. And I'm like, I'm waiting for it to be the biggest shock it could happen. And the way it happened last week, for it to close the show, was the best way for it to happen. Because not only do you have, now you're like, this is a Mariah May I'm used to in Stardom. Like the whole blood, like they eat blood for some reason. Them girls, they eat blood for breakfast for some odd reason. And it fast forward because Julia had a press conference too, where she made her future opponent bleed out. But it wasn't for this current belt that she has. It was for a different belt. She made her opponent bleed out. That's like the tradition. Like before they go into war, someone has to bleed. Someone has to bleed no matter what. And a lot of people were saying they don't know if they saw it coming. They don't know if they saw it coming. Like, but I did. Hello. Like, who better to turn on Toni and make this story interesting going into All In but Mariah? And the fact that she used that, come on, you hear when you take the butler out. Like, what did Luther have to do with any of this?
You gotta take the muscle out so you can get to the person.
You knew it was bad when you took out Luther. So I knew it was bad from then. But the fact that she made her bleed with her own shoe, I was like, finally. Tonight, we're probably not gonna, if she's there and they don't give this packaging, because they're getting better on their packaging. I'll give AEW that credit. They're getting a little bit better with packaging wise, what they're delivering. If it's not an in-ring promo, if they don't give me a damn good packaging, this build towards All In is not going to have the best start, but this gave it the best kickoff it could, because you're talking about somebody who's familiar in Japan and in England because of it, in Mariah May, and then you have somebody who's like a darling over in the UK as far as Toni, and they're about to go each other for the belt It's a good build. It was the perfect way to start this, even though it's like one of the best long-term booking storylines AEW has been able to do, and it didn't even have nothing to really do with the people right in the back. It had to do with those two ladies. Period.
Mhm.
Yep. Sorry, I had to go real quick, but I've been wanting to say that
You
Tony
missed my
didn't
rant.
No, I was listening, and I've been wanting to say that Tony didn't watch out for the shoe.
Yo, I put it from my Twitter. I was like, Mariah and Tony.
She threw the shoe and the
You
shoe
was
boomerang back in her
you was
face.
so right on point with that
I
scene,
was
though.
like-
Like you so was.
I was like, this is perfect. This is everything, like everything we were so used to as far as
Mhm.
anything I expect in WWE they deliver. And I'm just like, listen, chef's kiss on that one. Chef's kiss on that one. Even the point where
Yes,
Tony's like,
Andre.
Mariah, no. When she threw Luther in the table, she was like, Mariah, what are you doing? No. It was just perfect. I'm sorry.
It was
cinema.
great. It was
As-
honestly,
as
it was,
it
and
was
I hate
cinema.
that word now when it comes to wrestling, but I gotta say it was fucking cinema. Like it was beautiful, and it goes with Tony Storm's whole character. Like, oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about it. What other women in AEW are you paying attention to? Because I am, and I don't want to get too much into it because we talk about it a lot, but Britt Baker being back.
That's the one I'm focused on the most because of the fact of when you talk about the state of the women's division in AEW, Britt is like their Charlotte Flair. She was the anchor for AEW for so many years. There's a reason why she got that title. She held onto it the longest, the feuds that she had with Thunder Rosa and everyone else on that roster. So she's been gone for a while. She said she had multiple injuries and stuff like that. Now that she's back, it's almost like this women's division got a revamp while she was gone. So like the division that she knew before she left for the injuries to heal up, and you see now you got Mercedes Moné, you got Tony Storm who's on fire, you got Mariah May, you got Willow Nightingale, you got Chris Statlander. We don't even have Jamie Hayter back, and they're just and then you have the additions that Tony Khan just brought in too, and it's like they're cooking with oil, but it's also a different division where Britt was the queen bee of the division. Now you're coming back, it's like I don't even know if I'm top 5. I kind of got to reprove myself. And especially where you have someone where you're about to face in Mercedes that's been there, done that, is considered one of the best, if not the best in the world. Whereas like now you really have to prove yourself to be like, am I really still the queen bee in AEW? Because when I left, it was almost like there wasn't a clear number. There wasn't even number 2. It was like Britt and there was a gap. And now it's like, shit, this is just beyond loaded. And it's like, you know, it's like a superstar in the NBA or NFL, where it's like you get injured, you're gone for a year, you come back, the team's completely different, and it's kind of like you got to re-earn your spot,
Right.
It was
and prove
kinda
you're
like,
the person.
yeah, it was interesting because you watch AEW All Access. It's still on Max, and you kind of see her like sections and her interviews. It was kind of like she already knew she wasn't always going to be number 1, and she was always kind of answering what's next, like what's going to happen for her. And she took a lot of advice from a lot of people. Like, I remember a segment she did. She's very close with Tony Schiavone. She also took some sense from JR, because JR was the one to tell her, like, listen, it's okay if you're not always number 1. It's okay if you're not always the star, if you're not in the front. And she was just always worried about her place. But again, to see the reaction that people had in Long Island first term, they were like, first of all, you booing Mercedes when she just got there was nuts to me, first off. But
We
for
do not
it,
rock with Boston. Mercedes has been very vocal. She's from Boston, pro Boston.
that's fine. That's fine. I get it.
That's fine.
I get it. I get it. Whatever. But at the same time, for it to be the reaction of somebody who's from Pittsburgh to come out after they've not been there for a long time, I hope that moment, and I don't know if she's ever watching those.
We don't hate Pittsburgh as much as we hate Boston.
I get it. I don't know any other sport outside of football.
Outside of the Penguins is like that.
To Copa. So I don't know any other beef besides the US and whoever they always beef for. They beef for like 2 different countries when it's soccer season. I don't know any of that. But what I have to say is, if she's ever watching those wrestling girls, I hope she knows, like, she was worried about her place and the way she came back. And Krista can vouch for that. the way she came back and the way people were so excited to see her back. I hope she never questions it because she's always going to be a pillar. Like, I'm sorry, like I can give Jack Perry his flowers all day. I can give MJF his flowers for staying, being dedicated to the brand. I can give the Young Bucks for starting this brand. I can give it to, Darby Allin for breaking every femur bone in his body for being there. I can even give it to Daniel Garcia and, whoever's there. When I see pillars, she's right there. She's number one or she's on the end to represent.
Let's take that further. She's the pillar with the most stock.
Exactly.
When you really look at it, right? If we being honest,
yes.
The only reason why Ricky Starks has a lot of stock is because he's Cody's friend and everybody wants him to escape. So you could literally take Ricky Starks right now.
#3.
Yeah, and put him in NXT and people would be happy. No, you could put him in Level Up and people would be like, well, at least he's being used. Right? We'll put him in the speed title. And there's no disrespect to him, but I'm saying like that's his stock. What isn't what Britt Baker's stock is, because we've been waiting for that moment since Britt Baker had her breakout match in AEW. Because if we be real, when she signed there, she was still fairly like newer on the indies. She was not that far removed from being a jobber to Nia Jax when they was trying to get Nia Jax going.
NXT.
Right.
Cringe.
So no, that was on Raw. Remember, that was on Raw.
That was on Raw, but she was also jobbing. She was also like getting hammered and injured in NXT too. I remember that. Like, just to go off that, I agree. Yeah.
And she was making her waves on the indies and she was becoming talk about it.
We miss you, Dylan.
Yes.
That's my guy.
5 minutes or less.
She was making her waves on the indies and doing her thing. But AEW said, okay, this is somebody who's a big deal. And I'm going to give them credit for that. Right. But then she did the work to make us say, okay, now we want to see you in the ring with the 4 horsewomen. Now we want to see you in the ring with Asuka. So we got that moment. But Britt Baker, if it was announced that she was a free agent, you best to believe WWE would take care of her very well. She's not going to get.
And there's people that will have her back. Like you talk about Punk literally, Punk literally like was her ride or die at one point. You have Jade who can vouch. Like I know she said going on record to say they actually have a decent relationship. You have people that will vouch for her. So
and I believe that WWE would still let her practice her dentistry.
Oh yeah,
because of the way the company is. I feel like she would be able to do that, and and it wouldn't be a gimmick. It wouldn't. She wouldn't have to be Britt Baker DDM or
DDM DMD. Let's get that correct.
No, they
Black Come on.
I meant to say
shout out to DDM from Black Wrestling.
I meant to say Britt Baker DDS. Britt Baker Yankum. She wouldn't be the second coming. Oh, that's Isaac Yankum's long-term daughter. Long lost daughter. So I'm excited that she's found a way to maintain her stock. And I also saw with the booing, I kind of was thinking Cody Rhodes is right. The fan base, they will find a way to turn people off.
Yeah, because like, and I hate cutting you off, brother, but like, sorry, but what the fuck does the Celtics have to do with Mercedes? Like, what the fuck did that have to do with anything?
The timing of it, they just won the title.
Who cares?
And Mercedes was up there, and Mercedes was again very vocal about, I love Boston, let's go. And remember, New York and Boston hate each other.
But she's from there, and they've cheered her before in New York, so I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear none of that shit. I'm talking about somebody who literally lost her hearing in Brooklyn when it was her versus Bailey, so I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. I'm sorry. Nothing to do with wrestling. They just wanted a reason to
you asked. I'm just trying to answer it.
Because they booed her the night after, and were they in New York? No, so I don't want to hear it.
I mean, then again, it's Long Island. Long Island is kind of like its own shit. If you know, you know.
I'm dead.
It's like, y'all out there.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing too. you listen, it just turned into a mashup episode of Watch with of when wrestling meets pop culture. Because I
Watch
saw
with
her
wrestling
go
meets
hang,
pop culture.
yeah, because I saw her hang out with Maria Menudo. So I'm like, Maria, what are you
They
doing
are
there?
friends. So Maria
They're
Menounos
friends,
is
and
friends
Maria's
with a
also
lot of
another big
wrestlers.
Celtics fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were courtside at the championship
Yeah, like
game.
when your
also,
team
like,
is in the
Oh,
NBA
yeah.
Finals playing for a title, you're gonna see how many people like you saw this season where like the further the Knicks went, you saw a lot of celebrities like, wait, you watch basketball? It's like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
Knicks fans. It's just now that they're really good, now we're popping out.
mhm.
Can nobody compare
Can-
to Ian Spike Lee on the floor,
We-
even during a losing game? So
We gotta
Right.
give Maria Menounos credit. She's a fan of Bob Backlund. For goodness
Yeah,
sake.
she's a hardcore wrestling
stuff.
That's
fan.
hardcore.
I will never forget when on the red carpet of the Hall of Fame, because she used to
Mm.
host them, probably still does. And this is when Dusty Rhodes was still
Yes.
alive, and she recited his
Chill.
promo to him. Okay, she knew it by heart. That's how big of a fan she is. So, and she's
forget
friends
his-
with a lot
That
of
was his
WWE
last Hall of Fame.
superstars.
That was
Yeah.
his
Was
last Hall of
it?
Fame.
Last one, yeah.
That was it, like,
she
and
did
it
Hard
was
Times.
yes, that was
Yes,
his last
she,
one.
Yeah, she did the Hard Times promo.
And
to
the
him,
way
yeah,
she
wow.
did it, and you could see, because that's the first time where we really, if you hindsight be 20, like that's when we really
you're
saw
gonna make me
him
cry.
break down, right? Because it was just
Yeah.
months prior, he was in the ring with his boys in the Shield, but the way he had that look of joy to see his
Thank you,
impact,
Dylan. I did not know that. Yes.
you know.
And mind you, in his mind, and I go through it too, that's why I can say it. Like in his mind, it's like, oh, this pretty girl from Hollywood, like you watched me, like my promo, you know what I mean? Like that had to feel, like really, really good for him.
It's
for
so
sure.
funny because when Cody had was on there
Same,
with
Krista,
Brandy,
same.
she was just like, oh no, when Cody was talking to Chris Van Vliet, he kept saying, "Oh, Dusty said that," and it's just funny, like glaring the way he talked about her, and
I remember
especially
that.
with
Right.
Bailey, and it was like, yeah, because it's like Bailey, he wouldn't have liked you if you were already made. He liked his broken toys, as he would call them.
Yeah.
So to see
Because
that promo, man.
Because remember when I remember hearing the story of we're going. I just want to try back to Sasha a little bit. Sasha wasn't actually the best at promos, and it was Dusty who was just like, "No, you gotta do this, you gotta do that." He was
Mhm.
kind of fixated on
Mhm.
making sure she knew how to speak, and she's brought that up many a time. She was like, "If it wasn't for Dusty, a lot of people wouldn't have ever given me the mic because I wasn't the best at promos. I knew what to do in the ring. I was fine." But it wasn't for
you know what I
if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know how to do that. So if a monster shade, y'all, my apologies, not my apologies. But
It's a joke.
if it wasn't for him, a lot of stuff you wouldn't have a lot of, like, even with Roman Reigns, like you said, he liked his broken toys. He liked people that weren't a finished product. It's like
Is our
when you
friend
get a
Succotash
refrigerator and you're
Roman?
like, child, let's get into
he
it.
probably told
That
Roman to put
FCW
them great
story.
contacts in.
Listen, put when you watch that FCW, you start to realize a lot of people needed a lot of work,
Not
and it
contacts,
helped us
Roman.
so much.
Great contacts out of all
Believe
fucking
in the
things.
Shield.
Like he was
what
like he
the
was
hell?
like he was the Winter's. What's them Winter things from Game of Thrones that was
Oh, the
trying to
White
do
Walkers.
Yeah, like he was one of them, and it didn't even need it.
No, man, I think real like why. Hey, we said what we said, Krista.
We listen. We're
It
being
wasn't
nice.
good. Like it wasn't good,
It
and now
wasn't.
he's better. Now
You know
he's
what your
better.
daddy said about you?
Ooh,
Nothing.
Nothing.
yo,
For him to
yo.
come, you see me.
Oh my
Tribal
god.
chief. I'm the tribal chief. That's what they call me. You see me, the
Yo,
tribal
oh my
chief.
God.
Listen,
And
Yo,
then to
wasn't that
learn
the promo in DC that he did that?
Mhm.
yeah,
I was about to say, like, I
Yep.
remember that. We were just like, oh, you better
No,
fight it
he
now.
went.
He talked about your
in. Wait,
daddy.
I think I was there.
Yeah, that was your first DC show.
Yeah. That was the. Oh yeah, he went. He
Shit.
flamed
Roman said, I
Cody.
got my own diss track. It's called Meet the Roads. Dear Cody, I'm sorry that your father loved me more than you. Let's be honest.
Hello.
Yo, but mind you, we learned that Cody actually was like jealous of Dusty's NXT babies because he felt like he never got that. So like that was like perfect for Roman to say because the crowd was like, yeah. So let's get back to some of these women. So I put on our Twitter, follow those wrestling girls on Twitter if you're not already. Is Mariah May versus Toni the hottest feud in wrestling right now? And someone commented, John Reed, hopefully will come in the comments, said it's second to Rhea and Liv. So shall we get in? Let's get into this because it's probably one of my favorite things in wrestling right now.
While Mariah and Toni has been kind of, if you've been paying attention, it's been brewing, but it just happened recently. You saw when Liv put Rhea, before Liv put Rhea on the shelf. Like when Rhea was still champion and Liv was saying to her face, like, yo, I'm going to take everything from you. And then you have Liv put Rhea on the shelf right after WrestleMania, after Rhea had a banger of a match with Becky Lynch. Title's up for grabs. Becky gets it. Liv eventually gets that title off of Becky. And now we're all in on this Liv Morgan revenge tour. So now you see her as champion. Now she's got Rhea's belt. Now she's going after Rhea's boo, Dominic Mysterio. Now you see Leah retain as champion, take out Zelina Vega. And people, I know it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with Liv because it's like her fan base really rocks with her. And there's another contender that doesn't see it for her, even though Liv has been getting better year by year. Remember, Liv has been champion before. Liv is one of the only people that can say, I've beaten Ronda Rousey twice. No one else can say that.
This is true.
I've beaten Shayna Baszler too. I've beaten credible ass wrestlers. And to see her get her flowers now and carry this Judgment Day story where you take out the face of the franchise in Rhea Ripley. You have Damian as champion, but now Damian's trying to go on his own with Judgment Day. So inserting Liv in Rhea's spot refreshes Judgment Day as a whole. Because now all of a sudden you got Carlito throwing one-liners. Now you got Finn Balor being like, yo, she gave you a hotel key. Let me slide that off you real quick. Now you that JD just doing JD McBobblehead shit. But I mean, JD's now, we're paying attention to him. So then when Rhea comes back and you see the look on Liv's face like, oh shit, the bill's coming due and mommy's return. And mommy is not with the shits. We had a feeling this was going to head towards SummerSlam. And thankfully, Rhea got healed in time for that to happen. Because when I tell you that Raw promo, when Rhea's like, fuck the belt, I'm taking that and I'm putting you on the shelf. I'm ending your career. Enough of this shit. Because I've been paying attention to what you've been doing. And Liv's like, yo, I'm with the shits. I told you, I'm taking everything from you and I'm not afraid of you. I'm going to run through you. And it's beautiful that it's these two because people also forget the history that they have. It goes back to when they were a tag team. And I believe they were tag team champions at one point.
They were
tag team champions.
And I think Liv turned on Rhea?
No, Rhea turned on Liv. And that's how Rhea joined Judgment Day.
This was like because people forget there was a gap between Rhea not being there and then Edge revealing her to be one of the members of Judgment Day. It was like, and then even when that happened, Liv was like, "What's going on?" And Rhea kind of made her I guess her bullet points like, "I'm not here to be nice with y'all anymore, and I'm gonna make an example out of somebody." And Liv was also that person. People tend to forget that that's another point in the storyline of like, okay, we kind of get where you're coming from, Liv. We kind of get why you're doing it because of that specific moment also.
Yeah, this is 2 years of where we've been intertwined and we used to be like close friends and then you beat my ass badly. And I didn't forget that either.
No, we're not.
But this is money, man. If you the thing I love about this as we celebrate the state of women's wrestling tonight, if you would have told us 3 years ago, right, without going into why, but just in general, if you would have said 3 years ago that the top feud in all of women's wrestling, arguably pro wrestling, is going to include women, but it won't include the 4 horsewomen, Asuka or Bianca. Everybody's like, yeah, okay, or Ronda Rousey, right? But so to see them two just constantly going at it back and forth, and my man Dominic Mysterio,
Mhm.
You know, he trying, but he can only resist. And to throw him in between all this, like them two having this blood feud is one thing, but then to throw Dom in there just
Yeah,
takes it to a whole nother level, you know. And
absolutely.
And
he's sitting there relatable because he's
yeah.
like, "I'm sorry, mommy."
It
Listen,
is.
with this, right? It's kind of smart on both women's ends because I've seen, and a lot of people pointed it out too. A lot of people actually had like their interest discretions they want to, but really, I just think they're like they're in their "it should have been me" type energy about like they feel like Liv doing this is a regression of where women have come as wrestling. But y'all have to understand, Liv's character. Liv needs to do this. When I tell you, if it's lick back season, Liv is
Ooh, I
licking
like that.
severe back. Like I want, like when she said, I want everything mommy has. I want everything Rhea has. Dom, she
Mhm.
has you. So therefore, by default, I want you, and I'm going to get you. And we almost got there, right?
Mhm.
And then mommy music's hit. You seen, I'm sorry, and nobody can tell me you didn't notice this. The energy in Dom completely shifts from when he was
Yep.
dealing with Liv to when he was dealing with Rhea. He wasn't, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Listen, no, matter of fact, I don't take it back. It's licking severe back season, okay? Like it's definitely get back season.
Hashtag
Put in the notes.
heavyweights.
After everything that I saw in our group chat yesterday when I was on that train, put it in the notes, Justin.
Yo,
But
for
yeah, like
real. I'm
seriously,
glad you
you
brought that
saw
up
the
though.
demeanor change in Dom because Dom at one point,
Yep.
I don't know if it was just me, but it seemed like he was actually liking that he didn't have to like
How
put his
could
head
you
down and be scared of
not?
somebody. Like for somebody to be infected. When
Yes.
somebody has a crush on you, I'm sorry. When somebody has a crush on me, they could be the weirdest person in the world, but I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be like, oh,
Oh, yeah,
like
regards your life.
that's how Dom was looking at some point.
It's
So the fact that she's
true.
able to pull that character off, I don't care people compare her to. I don't
Right.
care if people compare her to AJ. I don't care if people compare her to anybody else that's had obsessions with wrestlers in the
Mhm.
past. It's fucking working. And for her to be able to
I
do that and still
agree.
be a women's champion, to
Yeah.
where who called her out? Selena Vega was like, "All right, I'm tired of you doing this bullshit. Like, you still had a belt on your chip, so what's good?" And for her to
Yeah,
go in
Right.
Selena
and be
was like,
like,
"What the fuck is
"You're
But
that?
I
The Young and the Judgment Day?"
yeah," like
yo.
she was like, and then she was like, Liv was kind of like, okay, well, I'm busy right now, but if you want to interrupt my
Mhm.
business, I'm gonna put you away too, and we could just take care of that. And now that's intertwined the few because we always, I like the leader. I'm always looking for her to do something, for her to have
Me
that back, and
too.
then now it's inadvertently putting Dominic back in the fold with his dad, and he beat his dad again, technically.
Yep.
So anything that's doing is giving Dom a push that
It
mommy wasn't
is.
doing. I'm just
But
saying.
I want to go back to seeing though, like what you said about how it feels like it's a regression with a man, like a romantic storyline for a woman. And
Right.
I was gonna mention this before. Like I am one. I hate that. Like I hate unnecessary romance angle just because these are women. They have to have a romance angle. We talked about it on previous shows, like how with Sasha and Bianca's main event, like that was very much they inserted this random man in it, and it didn't really need that. But I think with everyone involved in the Liv, Rhea, and Dom storyline, like everyone is on their A game. Everyone is firing on all cylinders. Everyone is in their prime. So it just works. Like it's already built in. Like we've known about Rhea and Dom's like their relationship that's been building. Like the Liv situation. She said, "I'm gonna take everything that fucking belongs to you." Then of course you have the parallels between China and his real dad, Eddie Guerrero, and China. Like so it just worked. Like when things just come together perfectly, like it works. I don't think the romance angle takes anything away from anyone that is in this feud. And then the other thing I want to bring up real quick too is how I used to be not even like Team Rhea at one point, believe it or not. I was like, around WrestleMania 36, 37, I was just like, meh, like they're trying, all of this stuff. But now, like, she is it. Like, like I love to see that. And she doesn't have to, like, she just came back and is already going to be facing Liv at SummerSlam, and that's fine. Like we don't even need to see Rhea and Liv touch each other until then. Like Rhea comes
That'd
in
be
for the big
nice.
matches. She knows how to do. Yes, it would be nice. And I got wonderful from the graphic. I got wonderful flashbacks of when Liv and Rhea were tag team champions because it was so hot. I don't think they meant for it to be, maybe they did. But it just gave everything it needs to give, and now they're involved in more of that. Like it's a nice storyline for WWE to kind of like see how far they can go before they go on Netflix. Because like Liv is literally straddling this man, like they almost kissed.
Word on the street is Netflix wants that.
Hashtag Live on top.
Like not too much of it, but Netflix wants that type of stuff on their network. Word on the street. So listen.
Hey man, we finding out Liv's a rider.
Wait, hold on. J bagged Rhea's number?
Yeah, from shout out to Jackie Batman. We love her. The queen of the NHL.
I didn't know he got it. I know he was, going for it.
He was like, "Is it true? The word on the street is mommy is single."
I mean, if your mommy is like, you want to sit here and flirt around with a quarter pounder instead of this porterhouse steak, then fuck it. I'm gonna go with the Yeet Master over here and go have some fun. We get lighting, we get all types of fun shit over here. Go ahead, Dom, with your fucking $5 mullet.
When he was like in Step Brothers, when the guy was like, "Listen, what if she looks at you and she goes, I've had the old cattle. Now I want the young bull."
And I'm just sitting here with my chest here and my undies. Shut the fuck up.
Look, man, I'm team Liv Dom. Liv be making sure Dom be having all the chicken nuggets in the world.
I'm telling you,
shit.
And I'm telling you, he likes them. He likes his chicken tendies. I don't know if they're McDonald's.
Yo, she pulled up like fucking. She pulled up like the Chappelle Show skit, like Prince. Like, I got pancakes. Like, nah, I got tendies.
Yeah, Liv takes care of him. Like, that's what you want.
And you also got to remember, how did Dominic join Judgment Day in the first place? Go back and rewind the tape. Rhea was putting that man in every submission fucking possible, choking him out, yanking him out, dragging him on stage. And he's like, yo, Liv don't do none of that. She be giving me chicken tendies. She be giving us PS5s. She be straddling me ringside. She be showing me love. I don't got to worry about getting my ass beat on a weekly basis.
He plays on his Pete Davidson.
But let's be real. Let's give mommy credit where it's due. Because if it wasn't for mommy in the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio wouldn't be one of your longest reigning NXT North American champions. Let's be real about that. And the reason he lost it, and what did mommy do? Mommy said, "This is not you. I go away for this moment. I'm not there for one night, and you lose tomorrow. You're going to get it back." And what happened? He got it back, even though he had some assistance.
I mean, it's a toxic relationship. It's like, yeah, I beat your ass, but guess what? You also experienced greatness under me and the Judgment Day.
Andre said, "Free yourself, Dom."
I don't know. I think he's about to free himself in a different way. The way Liv be going, he gonna free himself somewhere else. He can be like, Finn, let me get that hotel room key back.
Put that in.
He'd be like, Finn, let me get that hotel room key back. I need.
I ain't peeped that though.
This is some tea, right?
I noticed that. I wanted to talk about it tonight. I was like, they think they slick, and also Finn, you're not slick. I'm watching you too. You are, now that Mariah May has finally showed her true colors. You in my true color radar because I see you. I see what you're doing. I see what Damien's doing, and I see what Finn is doing.
Finn is like the demon got to come out somehow.
I also noticed that they be in the background like,
oh, Damien's over the shit. Bobblehead. Damien's like over the shit. The only person saying what everybody's feeling is Carlito, because Carlito be like, man.
That looks hard. Hey, something hard. It ain't the hard drive over there on the computer. That's cool.
This is the hottest story. Like I said, you can make an argument for just living Rhea for her own pro wrestling.
Yeah, it's pretty.
If hot. SummerSlam was too nice, this definitely main events night one.
Oh, damn!
This does.
That is.
Do you think it will be Do you think it will be the end of the Judgment Day? Should that happen?
I think we're getting the end of the Judgment Day period at SummerSlam because you've been seeing the tease where Damien really wants to go his own way and is tired of Judgment Day interfering in his title reigns. Like, he wants to prove he's a credible, worthy champion. And on top of that, now you have the Dominic Rhea Ripley back in the mix. But the whole Dom Mysterio, are you really fucking with Liv or are you really with Rhea? That's gonna come to a head at some point that I think is gonna end with Dominic really picking Liv over Rhea.
I feel like Damien's been done ever since he watched Finn lose to Seth for like the second time at last year's SummerSlam. Because y'all remember when we watched it, I was like, Damien looked like he looking at him like, nigga, I'm sick of your shit. You had 2 chances, and I have a whole briefcase. And you mean to tell me you couldn't get something simple
And
done?
that's the other thing is Finn is just as irritated. Like, what the fuck? Like, we helped you get this briefcase. We help you keep this briefcase. We help you become champion. Now you're like, that's cool. Now I want to do my own shit. You know.
And
it's
the way
kind of like that Kanye West, where it's like, yo,
Yeah.
I helped you get to this point. Now you want to trade up for fucking Amber Rose and her hieroglyphic tattoos on her forehead?
Oh my god! Wow.
Hey, Amber deserves it. Amber deserves.
She deserves a straight. She deserves that straight. Like, what the fuck are you doing, girl? So let's get
like,
back
really?
to
Hashtag Jocelyn was right. You want to talk about watch what happens?
Let's get back to
pop culture.
Oh my god. Yes, that would definitely gross.
Yo, Amber Rose, Jocelyn Hernandez, three shades of hell. Who says no?
Go with that girl. I'm sorry, Jocelyn would. Jocelyn, the Puerto Rican princess who identifies as black, will mollywop her. I'm sorry. Apparently she did. So let's get back on track. So other women that are wrestling.
Yes, let's talk about other women right now that you guys are looking out for, and let's see if we could go into some other promotions. Who y'all eyeing right now?
I'm eyeing, honestly, I'm loving what and I know it's still part of AEW, but I'm actually enjoying what's going on with Ring of Honor right now. I've been enjoying Athena do her thing, and basically what she says, she's carrying the brand, and all these hussies that don't understand what it's like to be. Yo, she be getting on. Yo,
you've been using that word for a decade, yo.
Yeah,
like literally.
She be like,
that in 1972. God damn.
Like, I've been carrying Ring of Honor on
that
my
is
back.
She's from
All
Texas. She's from the country.
All you hussies have been doing whatever you think is relevant in wrestling, and I've loved it from her having the minion, having MITs and involving the young lady that interviews backstage. She's kind of the response. She's kind of taken herself as the responsibility, unwillingly took responsibility for Billy Starks having the success she's had so far in Ring of Honor. Me and Shara Pablo, we were live when Billy Starks actually won the Ring of Honor TV championship, the now 16th belt that Tony Khan has created. But thank you for that, because the women have something to do over there against Queen Aminata. And y'all can put up Dylan's comment right now, because that's what I'm going to be watching Honor Club for. It's literally, they finally put Red Velvet involved. They kind of given Aminata and Red Velvet are kind of like their little answer to Jade and Bianca. So, and their chemistry is great. It's kind of what I wanted from the baddie section. Their chemistry is really, really great. And now they're all about to go into a tag team match, and it's going to be a good match solely because they're 4 of the talented women, most talented women Ring of Honor has right now. Everybody loves Queen Aminata. The comments that were made at
and
Ring of Honor
for a long time,
and have for a long time. A lot of people were happy for Billy, but they were also disappointed. But shout out to Billy. Billy, in my mind, kind of deserved it at that night. She's worked very hard. She's very young. I know that, but me too. It should have been Queen Aminata, because I've been rooting for Queen Aminata for a long time. But that's what I've been invested in. I've been invested in that. I've also, I don't know, I'm kind of getting into how Ash by Elegance is going up the indie route, because I know she has a belt outside of TNA already, and at Slammiversary, which is so out, by the way,
proud of her.
Which is so out, by the way. Shout out to TNA. Slammiversary is going to be Jordan Grace versus Ash by Elegance for the Knockout Championship, which I am excited to see, honey. I'm excited to see that.
Me too.
We watching that as a family, by the way, because
we are absolutely watching it.
I need to see Ash. I need to see
by Elegance.
Ash. I need to see Ash get what she deserves. I need to see her beat the critics and what they said about her talent. I'm here to see her being cheered at TNA shows. I've seen that so far. I'm here for her to get what she deserves. I was almost hoping we would see more of her at I was hoping we would see more of her period at Battleground, and I'm happy we saw her for the brief when we saw her. And it's great because a lot of people are, like I said, are like, oh, what's TNA doing in NXT? How is that going to benefit TNA? And this is why, because now Jordan Grace finally said, okay, we done with the open challenges now. Ash, you want this lick, you can get this lick, but it's happening at Slammiversary.
Let's get into
that's why I've been
Jordan
watching.
Grace.
Okay. Free licks, pay-per-view licks. Let's go.
I'm loving the licks.
The word of the night is lick.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of the
Mark.
title?
Can we get Jordan Grace for a second?
I am obsessed with her. She's one of the first like indie like female wrestlers that I got into when I got like on wrestling Twitter. When she was just like kind of like getting started, like she was not even this ripped at that point in time, and I just like saw her grind. I saw her elevation. I saw how she dealt with fucking trolls on Twitter. Like I really feel like I've watched Jordan Grace grow into the superstar that she is right now, to the point where, you know, they all be saying, oh, I don't care to go to WWE. Oh, I refuse. I actually chose not to sign with WWE. Like, you know, all of that talk. But then when you are real fucking call, you come into WWE, and she is a standout. And I think she's one of those people, like in other promotions, where it was like, okay, when is she gonna get to WWE? Like she has everything. Like she's grown on the mic, you know, like look at her physique. Like I have so many dream matches that I want to see her do, but they're doing it so well, where she popped up at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, when she popped up at Royal Rumble, I was happy for her. Not to cut P off because I think P's out, frozen, but I was so happy to see her at the Royal Rumble because I'm like, this is how you clap back at WWE being a one-time door. How
do you guys feel about Jordan?
You cut off completely, so you're gonna have to, after the Royal Rumble part. I was trying you was cooking, baby. I was so happy. I was like, yes, chef, give me the specials.
You were cooking, and the Y6 was like, not too much. Technical difficulties.
Turn the heat down.
Turn this VHS off real quick.
I think I left off at just how well they're doing it, where she's kind of like the prototype. Like she's kind of like the one that the first woman from TNA that's doing like the back and forth, and she's a well-realized, you know, superstar. Like she has everything WWE takes right now, you know, like she has grown. Like we watched her grow. She popped up at Royal Rumble, she popped up on NXT, you know, like I think they're doing it well, and we could see how this could potentially work. Like these are dream matches that like can actually happen, and Jordan Grace is it. Were you guys checking for her before? Like were you guys surprised? Like how do you guys feel about Jordan?
I like Jordan Grace fully, and I agree with you on the Twitter thing, because like people were trying to even come for her husband, and she was like, he's not on Twitter because you guys are assholes. And the way she said it, I was like, oh, I like you, like you feisty. Let's do I like her. I've seen her ring tape. She's great. But what I love about her is she's gone very open with like her body composition transformation, because I know she does a lot of. She still does body. They're still wrestling.
Yes.
This somehow became an Iron Man match with no commercials.
Jesus.
It's a banger, but keep going.
But she literally has done body competitions, isn't afraid to like document her physique and her change. And I love that. Like she really gives what these wrestlers are trying to give now, which is backstage access in a way that's inspiring. And I like that about her. I liked when she was the knockout championship, the knockout champion the first time. And I liked her feud with Mickie James. It wasn't even really a feud. It was just more of like who was going to bestow the honor of taking this belt from Mickie James, who was on her way out. And she was picked like by Mickie, which said a lot, because she was kind of like, listen, I'm keeping this in your hands. Then the second time, when it was her and Trinity, back then was Trinity said the same thing. She was like, oh, I'm clearly making my path. This has been real. You guys have taught me a lot. And they partnered at one point to where Trinity has said like Jordan is really the future of this company and will carry it. And when she was on her way out, she was like, okay, I'm not worried about TNA. I had fun here, but you have this person here who loves this business, who loves this brand, who loves being a knockout champion, pay attention to her. And she paid her those flowers. I was going to say I was happy to see her at the Royal Rumble because not only that, but it was kind of like Naomi was like, listen, I don't know what she saw. I don't know what WWE was watching. If they were watching the brand, great. But they were like, listen, who's this young lady going up against Naomi? And how can we get her here without making it seem like we're stealing from the competition? And that was the perfect way to do it. So then when she gets invited to NXT, man, when I tell you that building shook, I shook. I was like, they really about to. Everybody's been asking for a Worlds Collide for the longest time between TNA and WWE. But the fact that they let the women do it first,
because it's better.
The women kicked it off. They know their consumer because everybody's watching NXT now. If it's not cheering for Trick Williams, it's for the women. I've said it. The first episode I watched NXT. They can literally have matches full of women's matches and they're not losing ratings. In fact, they're above Dynamite right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, like you brought up Jordan Grace, and go back old school. You talked about like even the body transformation. When she started off, she was a powerhouse. And if you look at like some of the old stuff, when I first got familiar with her was during the times when we was working at WSU. I always loved how she incorporated like her workouts, and that's when I really first started seeing Big Mama pump. And with all respect, she was still like on the heavier side, the chubby side, but she had like a baby face, right? And I watched her Mercedes Martinez, like she got built to face Mercedes, and she didn't beat her, but they had a good match. And the thing is, you could see the respect she had from the veteran ladies in that locker room and just her approach. And then, so I would see this whole, like every time, like she was like, all right, so for my promo, I'm going to go and do the push-ups. She would do her push-ups to jump up and, cut her promo. And then just watching her evolve over the years, you know what I mean? Whether she was going down to like a Mission Pro or Reality Wrestling or wherever she was, she went out there and just constantly killed it. So it was like, to the point, if we can address this, the elephant in the room, she picked up the ball where Tessa Blanchard fucked it up. True. Because Tessa had an opportunity.
I need to answer that one.
I'm like, preach.
That she was wrestling an asshole Sami Callihan and stuff, and it was like, okay, here's an opportunity where you're going to see intergender wrestling in a very competitive way, right? But then it just didn't, she did what she did. But then you saw Jordan Grace come in there and do it. And I remember a lot of the talk was, how do you have lose to a woman? How do you lose to a woman, but then take it seriously to wrestle other men, right? And that's why I give credit for TNA.
Everything. Seeing those fans.
That was a hot take. I'm burning up over here because I said, God, you went there.
Yes.
Mind you, keep in mind when we get into Stephanie Valkyrie, guess who she wrestled at her last match? But we're gonna get into that. But
let's get into it.
But no, I want to finish Jordan Grace on because I love me some Jordan Grace. But yeah, like that's an interesting take. But shit, you ain't wrong, brother.
Yeah, she went out there and she wrestled men, she wrestled women, being the digital media champion, but it wasn't a thing like it didn't feel like it was like what they wanted China to do. Like when China went to the women's division, it wasn't supposed to feel like a demotion. Instead, it was supposed to be like, okay, now let's elevate these women. And Jordan did it with grace, So that's why I'm a huge fan. She was the perfect person to do this crossover.
If anybody can, I really want people to see. I know I'm hot. I'm sorry, and it's raining. It doesn't help. If anybody has a chance, look up Jordan versus Deonna Purrazzo, which I wish on TNA they would have given more chances, because when those two went against each other the first time.
Didn't Deonna have 2 runs in TNA?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, because this recent one. Well, I know she's in AEW, but this is good.
Yeah, The one that the second one is really good, but the first run was just as good, which is why it's like it frustrates me with WWE. I'm like, yeah, why y'all let her go so easily without giving her that potential? But at the same time, we already know what happened. So
she's
but
better now, but I think when she
yeah,
goes back, stock will go up.
exactly.
Sometimes it's like
That's
you
true.
gotta go to the major leagues. This happens in baseball all the time, like with Jackson Holiday. You get there, you get a taste of it. You're not ready, but now you know exactly what you got to go back and work on.
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
But I
But
tell
her
you, who
Jordan
is ready?
Grace. Who? Oh, let's get into it.
Stephanie.
Yeah,
Big deal.
we'll talk to NXT. We were talking about Julia. We didn't even bring up a lot about Stephanie, who was killing it in CMLL. She got on my radar during the New Japan Women's Strong Tournament where she faced Mercedes the first time. They put on a banger where it's like, yo, this is how this tournament is going to be. We in for a treat. And lo and behold, it was, even though we got Mercedes and Willow in that final. But thankfully, they ran back Mercedes and Stephanie Part 2 in AEW, where Stephanie was getting ready to jump ship from CMLL and was like about to be one of the hottest free agents. And then quietly and low key, she was like, my dream was always WWE. I'd rather go to WWE. Boom, I'm here.
Yep.
But yo, when I talk about someone I'm really want to pay attention to in NXT that I don't know a lot about, Stephanie is like the top of my list.
I'm so ready to learn more about Stephanie because she was not on my radar until about like a month ago, and now I just see her everywhere, and I'm like so tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's a good example of like people confusing the fact that these are like wrestlers choosing places to work. You know, like if if WWE calls you, you're gonna take the call. Like let's stop fronting. Like that's not the destination that professional wrestlers want to go to. When it comes time to choose, that's what you got to do. I'm ready for it.
I'm telling you.
You know, I hated the fact all this stuff that came out about her. And if we be real, not to get angry.
No, let's get angry. Let's be real.
Get angry.
Let's get angry.
The jackass ding dong that said it was somebody who don't like women's wrestling. So it was another opportunity.
The ding dong. First of all, get into it, because why we still listening to them in the first place?
Right.
But like when you see all this stuff, then this creates this narrative, right? So then what it does is it turns fans who have no business being involved anyway against her, right? And like you said, if WWE calls, you're coming. You know what I mean? Bottom line, you're choosing a place
or at the very least, you're going to hear him out to be like, yo, this is fucking WWE. I'm going to take this call and hear the offer or what they got in mind.
Jobs every day.
It's off the bat of people like who know the conversation wasn't just about them going off on their feelings on national television as to why like WWE isn't like the best place to be. For some people, guess the fuck what? It still is. Like, so newsflash, for some people it is.
And look, just this, right? Videos. Just the fact they gave her all of that.
Right. Right. Now let's also just think about like the basics. Like, are you going to go to the company that pays you more? The ones that have the higher profile? Like, you're going to choose to go to the big player. And what's cool about the landscape right now is no one's saying she can't go to AEW at some point in her career. Like, there's no saying she can't go to TNA. Like, there's no, you know, like that's why I wanted to talk about the state of women's wrestling, because there are so many more possibilities. You know, Krista B and I started TWG because we realized that WWE finally realized that there's potential in women's wrestling. Now we fast forward 6 years later, all of these players in the game are so strong that they could go anywhere the fuck they want and make an impact. Like Toni Storm, she was unhappy with what she did in NXT, you know, wasn't very memorable. Look what she's doing in AEW, some of the best work that she's ever done. And she's still young. She can still come back to WWE and create even more storylines. So I think like that's what we need to like remember when it comes to these signings, and that tribalism shit is whack. Like that, and this is a pure example of why it's whack.
You fans wanted it to be more real. This is what happens to sports all the time. There's a thing called free agency where you see it in the NFL, you see it in the NBA, you see it in Major League Baseball, where if you're a free agent, you're gonna take calls, you're gonna take visits. I'm gonna pop in to go visit the Cowboys, then I'm gonna go visit the Eagles, then the Giants, then the Ravens, then I'm gonna make a decision. Or I may make a decision where it's like, yo, if the Ravens come calling, that's the team I've always wanted to play for. Fuck all these other meetings. I'm going here. So if you're gonna get in your panties over a bunch over where she goes, what the fuck are we doing here?
Exactly.
And on top of that, you have to also keep in mind, like, the match that she had. And first of all, the first match that I saw her with was when her, and shout out to Justin on this because I actually did watch, was when they were doing the New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship and her and Mercedes went against each other the first time. That's when I started realizing, like, who is this and why am I not watching CMLL? Because she's great at what she does. But then when I hear her background story, right? And I hear why she won WWE, and I hear that, like, Rey Mysterio, of course, is such a big influence on her. She's watched it in Chile. You know, she tried out for the first time. It didn't work out, but WWE gave her that, like, I guess, something that, and a lot of people forget that, like, WWE has this way of doing things that some people are going to agree with, some people are not going to agree with. Some things they've handled not so great. Some things they've handled a great job. But it depends on the person. They left an impression at her, unfortunately, that AEW did not. And it happens. Same way with Mercedes going to AEW. AEW left an impression, and we know it's funny because she said it above, and her creative control, that WWE has not. It is fine. That's how the business works. If you don't know how business works, there's a lovely book there's 2 books. There's a book called Definite Territories that you will understand how things work differently between both companies. And that's why some people left and some people stayed. And then there's other book that's by, Brian always talks about it all the time, by Brian Gertch, because you dropped a lot of knowledge from that book too. That's how the business works. I'm sorry if it pisses you off that she's not about to have to deal with going up against fucking MJF and Will Ospreay beating each other's asses for the last hour in a promo shoot. I'm sorry if it does not work for you and that's your vision of her. But guess what? The vision that she probably has in her mind, that WWE is about to have in their mind, totally different. So how about
that
we
lady
just
saw WrestleMania and said, "I'm coming."
That lady saw that
Vegas.
even if they put her
Say
with
less.
LWO or whoever they put her with, that she's gonna have people to actually wrestle and not have to wrestle the same people over and over. She saw that. She saw a potential title in her hands because she's already had titles. She saw a dive of bringing more eyes to the Latino market that they already have, but hell, bring more. The fucking merrier. Like, why not? So that's what she saw. And
it was her dream to be in WWE. Of course, you're gonna go chase your dream, but that's where you really want to be at.
And the person talking the most stuff, not offensive, also had dreams to be in WWE, went and did that, and now they have their own mind that they're the best wrestler in the world, and now they're in a place where their vision is they want to prove that they're in their vision. I talk about vision all the time, like. Get with the program, people. Not everybody's gonna want to go where you want them to go, and you can't be pissed off at everybody where they go. It's their decision. But guess what the fuck you gonna do? You still gonna buy that ticket and you still gonna watch
exactly.
And I think one person burn no merch yet, so everybody just needs to shut up.
Exactly. Go outside, touch grass, wear deodorant, and get laid.
You still gonna watch. You still gonna sit in USB with a $30 mixed fucking drinks and watch Mercedes Moné go up against the girl. So I don't even want to hear that shit.
Right. And I think it's to mention it's not also about the promotion, it's about like who you could wrestle.
Right.
Because like she got to wrestle Mercedes and then now she is at her dream job.
That's the shit.
You know
it's the same thing with Mercedes where like everyone's complaining about Mercedes going to AEW. It's like she's wrestled everybody in WWE. Yes, she can wrestle the girls in NXT, but maybe she's always wanted to wrestle Britt Baker. Maybe she's always wanted to wrestle this version of Toni Storm. Maybe she wanted to wrestle Statlander. Maybe she wanted to run it back with Willow. Maybe she wanted to do Jamie Hayter and all these other women that she hasn't wrestled. On top of AEW has this working relationship with Japan, and Mercedes loves Japan. So it's like, guess what? I can pop over here and wrestle the girls in Japan, but also AEW has working relationships. You saw her pull up all the way in CMLL to go after Stephanie. And that's things that WWE wasn't allowing to happen. It was very, very sparingly. I go back to, I think it was Stone Cold podcast with Jericho, where Jericho had to get permission from Vince to go over and wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
and stuff
that
and
was
shit
I
like
like
that.
that
And
he
now you're seeing WWE's like, all
yeah.
right, we'll let AJ go over and wrestle a match. We'll let Shinsuke go over and wrestle a match. We'll let Io go over and wrestle a match. But that wasn't the case back then.
Yeah, and that's what I'm enjoying about this more because and then you highlighted my
Fuck,
point
I
with the
said Jericho's
women's.
name and look who's coming out. Shit.
You spoke
God
him
damn it.
up.
I said his
What I
name like
love
Voldemort.
about what I love about Jordan Grace is that literally look at what she's doing now. She's like, listen, I crossed over NXT. My bad, not my bad. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this open challenges for anybody and anybody where they're from. Two people have answered so far. You have Tatum Paxton, who I love her and Tatum's match. It gave me it made me miss Daphne so much, and it made me happy for Tatum to finally get the attention she should have got, even without having the Lyra Valkyria storyline attached to where it gave me that. And then they had Izzy Dane last week. And there's somebody they've been trying to push. She's the last of the Nashville tryout girls who I'm wishing that they would have gave more teams to anyway. And she got lost in the sauce by losing Kiana James as her mentor. So I was happy to see her finally do her own thing. And Jordan Grace at the end said what? She said, send more. So it's
Love
starting
it.
to do what it's supposed to do. This partnership in WWE going, you know what? Maybe we should have been paying attention to what works. Let's see if this works for us and how we could do it. And they've done it a great job, in my opinion.
I think so too. It's a beautiful thing. Have we talked about the mid-card titles yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Shall we get into those? Because I really hope that we get more of them on the main roster. But let's talk about it. What does that do for the state of women's wrestling? There being another more championships. And we mocked AEW, but what if the women had that?
The thing that we get out of it is multiple women's matches. I remember back to when I got back into wrestling around WrestleMania 30. You were only getting one match on Raw, on SmackDown, if you were lucky, if it didn't get cut for time. And if they got a match, it was like maybe 5 minutes. So you look at the state of the women's wrestling now, where you're getting multiple matches, you're getting multiple segments, you're getting intergender wrestling, you're getting mixed tag team matches, and now we have the introduction of women's secondary titles. I know WWE has the women's tag team titles. There's been rumors maybe they get a women's IC title, women's US title. You see it in AEW where they have multiple women's titles. And this last pay-per-view that they had, you had multiple women's matches on the card, which is the first time in forever. You had Mercedes and Willow in one of the co-main events for the first time in forever, which hasn't happened to AEW. And you're seeing the progression to where not only are we really investing in this division, but we're going to give them multiple storylines that are not sexual, that are not the status quo, and really give them the latitude to really wrestle. And these extra belts, these secondary belts, are allowing more stories to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't got nothing else to add. You should. That's the best part about it.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. I thought we had a graphic for that, but who else? We do talk a lot about her, but I really just think this is just the beginning for Willow Nightingale. But I'm also very excited about whatever Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark have going.
USA.
Yo, leave that shit at y'all tune in to Thirsty Thursday for that one.
I'll say this because I don't even.
I'll say this.
This is huge.
The fact you see in factions and allyship really opens the door for the mid-card titles,
right?
Because of now there's the multiple storyline aspect, but now it's also a reason. Obviously, okay, you got a beef with somebody.
Hey, Letty.
But
if it's CWG,
you know it. If it's not, after a while it can get stale. You know what I mean? If it's not personal.
Right.
So I think having that title gives us a reason. And I love the fact that they tested it on NXT because you have a lot of women down there. You have a lot of matches. And, you're going to start to see, like, it's perfect, right? You have the person who's coming from the NIL holding the North America Championship. You got the Prodigy holding the World Championship. Now, like, when I look at Sonya Deville and with Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, now I see Sonya Deville as a women's intercontinental champion or women's champion. Or honestly, let's give it another name. You know, let's give it another type of mid-card name. But you know, they'll probably go with the same. But I could see that because she stands out and she comes off as like the leader and the orchestrator just by positioning. You know, she's in the middle, and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, they just look like a tag team that could just dominate. And I know we want more for Shayna. I do. I would love to see Shayna with that title because I want to see her with singles gold.
I do too.
She does hold tag titles well, even though she always kind of ends up turning on a partner or what have you. But that's what's going to be fun about this. Like Justin mentioned, multiple matches, which we've been getting. I've always said, if you give me 10 matches, 5 and 5. You give me 6, 3 and 3, and I think we're getting closer.
I agree.
And I think women's IC title works because you also got to remember they just changed those women's main titles not that long ago. It hasn't really been a year since they went from Raw and SmackDown women's titles to Women's World Championship, Women's Champion. So women's IC makes it a lot easier than like, fuck, we gotta learn another name. Especially that and remember they just changed the tag team titles recently and changed the name of those. So it's like, you know, women's IC, boom, easy, smooth. We know IC, women's IC, and you can add a lineage to that and tie it back into, well, look at all the men's Intercontinental Champions and what it's done for them in their careers. Now let's see what happens with the women.
Facts. How do we feel about this comment from Tetsuya DYs? Welcome.
Hi, Anthony. You already know how I feel about that, child. To my own horn. That's why I started the show about it, honey. Because listen, if it's not the women eating the ring, it's just the women being part of factions. Like literally metaphor. Even without Jakara and Lash wrestling, and I'm glad Lash has found it's going to continue getting that exposure. Even them being a part of metaphor, you've seen the impact of women being in factions again on that show. You've seen the
hold on. Like, sorry, we gotta do it as soon as I find the fucking clip.
Oh.
Yay! We have a Mercedes sighting.
You're not doing the dance.
Okay.
CEO.
I mean, she's only got 2 dances. It's this, and then it's the little like.
I can't do it like the Japanese wrestlers.
Dylan, if you fucking gift this, I swear.
You have to give this.
Literally watching the Japanese wrestling. I said Will Ospreay's is like, I like it. Will Ospreay's at dinner doing this, and then you see him getting the Japanese. They're like Monday. Mercedes.
Am I the only one?
I know Mercedes like let it rain and clear it out, and let it rain and clear it out.
Mercedes doing the chicken noodle soup.
You know.
Mercedes doing the chicken noodle soup.
That's how she gets up and run in the morning. She be running and she be like, C-E.
Y'all be listening to her song on Spotify?
She has
because you know that's her song. She's rapping and singing on it.
I know.
That's certified banger. Triple platinum. Triple platinum. Song of the summer with Not Like Us.
Song of the summer. Okay, I'm loving these insights. It's true. They just need to be given the ball. Like women, we just need that opportunity. And now we're I think women are doing the hottest stuff right now. And if they keep giving the same opportunities that the men are giving, like mid-card titles should give fucking the women a match over an hour. Like I would watch that shit depending on who's wrestling.
Oh, I missed that.
It's been a minute since we got a hard match from a woman.
Yeah, because that's what NXT used to be about, baby. Like that's what got me. Child, that match will forever be ingrained in like goddamn finally. Like this is the type of level we should have been on, and they know we were capable. And it was Triple H who said, "All right, you're capable of it. Go ahead." And he literally in that documentary, he told them they were so shocked to know they were main eventing and going to go over an hour. Like how unheard of was that? You talking about going from 5-minute, 6-minute break matches to being literally almost half an hour into the show. Like you talk about being like bathroom breaks to having a full PLE where every single part of the brand is defended. You had a PLE where it was the end of it was the finale of the Mae Young Classic, where you had literally, I think, in my opinion, that was Charlotte and Becky's. That's my favorite match out of both of them at that Evolution pay-per-view. I really enjoyed that match between the two of them.
That makes me too.
You had Kyrie Singh.
All matches on the Evolution cards hit.
Eight, man. Even to see Ronda Rousey and Nikki do their thing, like, so when you see stuff like that, and when you see the level of women that are now in the division on all three aspects and around all the companies, you get excited. Like, that makes me excited for what's happening, because now not only am I happy with what's currently happening, what's coming up now, SummerSlam. What always happens during SummerSlam weekend tryouts, you now will have a brand new crop of girls who have seen what they've seen from the product, and they're like, you know what, I can do that. Like everybody that's been, even from the fitness influencers to the soccer players to there's rumored to be another Olympic gold champion that's going to try out for WWE. You see people on YouTube. If you search on YouTube right now, there are girls that are documenting their WWE tryouts. That's something that I would have never thought would happen from the product. Like, you're excited to go, like, that grueling tryout. You're excited about it, and that's the way shit should be.
Right.
In my opinion.
Imagine those girls if all they watch was WWE, and all of a sudden you're like, yo, I get to watch Sasha and Charlotte main event Raw for the first time since Trish and Lita, the second time women have ever done it, and then parlay that match and talk fucking old head Mr. Redacted into let's go main event Hell in a Cell, where they actually fucking earned it. The first time you ever had women main event a WWE pay-per-view at any point. Yes, you know, Bayley and Sasha did that in NXT, but you got that on the main roster, that you're the first, and you're getting it in one of the most grueling gimmick matches where they should have been the only one that got the Hell in a Cell match, because that feud actually deserved it, the way they've been beefing since January, and even a little before January, leading up to that, to where like they flat out earned it. And then you go into, all right, fuck, they earned that. Let's go main event Raw again in Charlotte's hometown. And then let's parlay that into an Iron Man match. And you look at the history that they did, and that crop of women who watched that and be like, you know what? If they could do it, I could do it. And now you're going to have those women try out.
Hold on.
Okay, am I the only one that's getting WWE flashbacks with the color scheme that she has on right now?
The one that she talked about, she hated.
Yeah,
I love it. She looks so good.
No, the one that she hated was a different version of this. This is like a
green.
hybrid.
It was green though, but
I like this.
It was like a. Yeah, that was like, what was it? Red wig with like the Money in the Bank green. And
yeah,
it was just
with the
like,
Money in the Bank green. Yeah, the hair didn't match the gear. This is
holy
different.
shit.
This is different. This is like the WrestleMania 37 mix.
Wait, we about to get her versus Nyla Rose?
Yes. Nyla answered the open challenge. Mercedes, you said anyone but Britt, and Nyla said, word, I'm pulling up.
Nyla said, you said anyone. Okay, I'll see you outside.
Oh my god, I just heard the sky fall outside of my window.
Oh yeah, you heard what I heard like 20 minutes ago. I forget. We're neighbors. You're probably not gonna go out. Don't worry.
Let me ring the bell.
I cannot wait.
Mercedes gonna pull a John Cena and be like, you can't see me, and get the fuck out of the ring.
Oh yeah, the similar color scheme where she tagged when she was tagging with Naomi. You're right.
It's the WrestleMania 37 gear. It's just a different mix, but it's the Bianca WrestleMania main event look. We're just like, I love that look on her.
How great is this? Anytime I is on my screen, I enjoy it. This is about to be a slap.
She's so funny.
Shout
out to everyone that is joining us and that's in the chats. We do watch AEW as a family, but we're also talking about the state of women's wrestling.
Nice women's wrestling match on right now.
I know, right?
I hope they get time. I didn't realize Ospreay and MJF are gonna give us a free ass Iron Man match.
Yo, that could have definitely been on a pay-per-view, maybe. Not one I went to though, because I don't want to sit through a fucking.
God damn, is it raining that hard? It sounds like God's pissing out the window.
No, seriously,
no, it was. I can vouch for her. That's why I read myself.
That's a great question. I don't remember the last time Nyla had a match, but I know.
I'm glad she's having one now.
It was on that. It was on Collision. Okay. Yeah.
Nobody watches that show.
They need to just get rid of it.
I mean, if you stick Mercedes over there, I'll be watching every week.
Make it the new
Or-
Dark. I'm sorry, I don't get it. Like
Mhm.
the person you made it for is not there anymore. You don't have to have any ties to it. We don't have to be any loyal to it. Make it the new Dark and move the fuck on. Like
Ooh,
My-
Mariah May speaks.
Looked
I
in
am
his
Ooh.
so hyped
eyes.
for
What did
I
I
feel like at
see?
this point it's just the extra way for them to sell tickets for AEW.
My
Right.
last AW shot will be stop trying to be like WCW and go in the 90s. You got Collision that came at the time of Saturday night. You got this video game that flopped. That's like No Mercy. We've moved on from the 90s.
The video
I
game.
never want to move on.
There's so many. They need a Cornell because there's so many glitches with that fucking game. I played it once because somebody had it. I played it once and I said, "What the fuck is this shit?" I tried to do a first blood. I tried to do a first blood and I turned the blood on and then I struck like CM Punk twice. I didn't play a CM Punk. Yes, I know it's a shocker, but I played a Sting. I kicked CM Punk one time and he bled and the match was over. I said, "What kind of bullshit is this?"
That sounds
This
appropriate
was
for a CM
never-
Punk match.
You walked into that one, CM, though.
Rah, rah.
Anyways, they need to get it together. The glitching needs to stop. Like at one point, like MJF was in the air hovering. We had to restart the whole game. I was just like, you guys, like, who is your dev team?
Is this too soon? Stephanie
No.
versus Julia at No Mercy?
No. If they
You
gonna be
muted.
in September,
You muted, P.
no. I want them at Halloween Havoc.
I think because of how well
Halloween
known they are, it's
Havoc.
not too soon.
Even though I'm gonna
Mhm.
miss it.
I think it's gonna be great.
Okay.
I think it'll
I'd
be
save that one.
But who's to say Julia? You know what though?
I kind of want to see them interact
We
with the
talk
rest of the
about
NXT
workhorse
ladies
titles.
first before they go to.
We talk about workhorse titles. I don't think she would go for the North American
great.
Championship.
Mm.
Yeah, you
Workhorse.
established that
Julia?
title.
Yeah,
you-
like
you established that title.
I don't think so.
Okay, when should this happen? This is a good point that Dylan brings
No,
up. When
I'm
does
fine
this
with
happen?
this because
If it happens at All In, I
All
will be
In is Wembley. That's a humongous stadium show, and to have the pillar of AEW versus the CEO of AEW and arguably one of the greatest to ever do it, you have that match immediately, especially where they've been kind of sniping at each other before Mercedes even pulled up to AEW, and Britt's been asking for this match. I've been watching her do interviews, like when she was champion, she's like, "Yo, if anyone could come to AEW, who do you want to wrestle?" And she's always spoke highly of the Sasha Bailey Brooklyn main event, just like everyone else has. So that one, you pull the trigger immediately, especially when you're gonna have your biggest stadium show to date.
Mm-hmm. And Dylan,
Valid.
you know me. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. I only need friends and Scarf and Chris and Pablo. That's it. But literally, I just think that don't y'all think it's just exciting that we can even have this conversation with everything?
Yes.
Imagine us trying to have this conversation during the PG era. My God, it would have
Right.
died. It would have been a 30-minute show. We almost going on 2 hours.
Right. And we haven't even gotten to everyone like that we could possibly talk about.
We
'cause
ain't even
Dylan-
getting Yoshi the way we were supposed to.
Right. Like this is good shit right here that Dylan
I've
brought
been
up.
begging for a Zelina push, and they finally listening, and you see Zelina's quietly moving up that card and moving into that main event scene where it makes sense. And it's like, yo, Zelina's another one that's like, give her an opportunity. You know she could talk on the mic. You know she could wrestle. It's just a matter of there's too many people above her on the totem pole, and it's not like, yo, since Becky's not here, since Charlotte's still working her way back from injury, you have these slots open. The same way you gave Liv Morgan a chance, give Zelina a chance.
Yeah. And again, another woman or a superstar that just has everything it takes and got that slow burn. I recently watched this clip with Victoria Monet, and she was saying she was just getting guidance because, you know, she's been in the game for a long time, and like she's finally like getting her solo opportunities, and we're finally seeing like what a star she is. And she said what kept her driven was one of her mentors asked her, like, how badly do you want to do this? Do you want to do this so badly that you don't get it for another 15 years? Like, are you still going to want it just as much? And she said the answer was yes. But in that 15 years, she was becoming the best that she could possibly be. And I feel like with Zelina Vega and even like Chelsea Green, like they've kind of been bred for this moment. They were just waiting for that opportunity. So how do you guys feel about Chelsea Green? Because she has really
I think she's the
is a
one that
rising
shined the
star.
most in that Money in the Bank match, especially when you go back and watch that finishing spot where Tiffany launches her off the ladder, but the ladder is not lined up with the table to where Chelsea has to jump at an angle to hit the table and not get the legs. Like that's like, and to do that on a trust fall where it's like I'm going backwards, I have to jump almost at a 45 angle to make sure I get the table so I don't impale myself on these legs and finish the spot to where I clear the ropes
Classic.
and take care of myself at the same time. Is like, yo, Chelsea gets my all-time respect. And that match was just like, oh, Chelsea. I wasn't familiar with your game. I am now, especially when people are like, yo, Chelsea's been doing this for years. Go look at what she did in
Right.
TNA in this match and that match. I was like,
Not
oh,
even
I'm
that.
really unfamiliar
Go
with your
see
game.
what she was doing in Lucha Underground.
Yep.
Yes.
How
Yes.
I
Wait,
was like,
wait,
when
she
you
was in
talk
Lucha
about
Underground?
yes, she's gone up
Oh, I
against.
got some homework
Yep.
to do then.
Yep.
It's
And
funny.
check her out on one of the Ringer podcasts too. It was really good.
Yeah, she co-hosted The Masked Man last week with Shoemaker.
Yeah.
And she goes into the Lucha Underground.
Damn, I
stuff.
remember
Yes.
Io in Lucha. How do I not remember
No,
Chelsea?
she was on Lucha Underground. It's the most. If you go on TikTok, it's the most viral clip of her on Lucha Underground. We talk about that spot on the table. On that spot from TL.
Not just
I'm
any
sorry.
spot.
Yeah, just any spot. That spot from Money in the Bank is crumbs compared to what she used to leave in Lucha Underground. She was,
I
we was
mean,
eating filet mignon. Okay, like, she was. So
Yeah,
I believe it. I've seen
Real.
Io wrestle fucking Pentagon, and it's just like, oh, y'all
That's
cray cray
viral.
for real.
Y'all really, yeah, because y'all really not let her go off like the way she deserves to.
Yeah.
Dang, Dylan.
What?
This is why we miss Dylan. I was gonna bring that up.
We
too.
did miss him.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it during the watch party, Justin, because listen, there's a couple of people, and I hate doing this, but I like doing it because it worked when I was right.
But you like doing it because it's content.
But there's some people that need to do a switcheroo, like Kalani. But Kalani is giving me first lady vibes, and it's fine because she's a college student. She's fresh out the game. She learned so much. Is she gonna turn into her man? I don't think she has. But y'all have to understand what Lonnie, and that's what I want to talk about. The last one I want to talk about with the women. It's very women that have been doing it without a college degree or without any other athletic background versus people who are in NIL. Kalani is an NIL prodigy at this point. Like kids that have come from college and said,
Wait, what's
I don't
the
want to.
CEO glove shit? Sorry. I got thrown off by Mercedes.
CEO glove shit.
Ooh.
You know, we watched
Oh,
this
I
as a family.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just looked at it.
I mean,
no
glove, no love.
Oh, this is why Mercedes
No.
fucking Monet is
you
the
know
best
why she got the
heel.
glove?
Now,
Who-
see now.
Yeah,
She
you
just
know
did it.
who shit that really is though.
You know who she's copying?
Mm-hmm. Yes, she
That's
is.
that's wild. That's why this feud is going to cook.
She's like, come here.
And she really did. She really just did the DMD.
Oh my
and
god!
really
Put
just
it
did
in
gonna
your
be
mouth.
so good.
That's
It's
crazy.
gonna be so good.
That's nuts, bro.
What a
Princess
match.
Patty.
What a match.
You forget
is
Mercedes in her notebook,
good
man. She'd
shit.
be like, nah, this is chapter
This is
32,
good
verse
shit.
7 against Britt.
Yeah,
Do A, B, C, and D.
and on that note,
And
that's
she
when
made
we go
Naya-
home.
Yes,
She
yes,
tapped out
yes,
detail. That's
yes.
crazy.
I am so ready for
ready for
this.
Back with Kalani, you have to understand there's girls. She's not gonna be the Roxanne Perez who got to do promos ever since she was 18. She's not gonna be that. She's gonna be somebody who's getting handed a position and doing that position well. When it came to that promo, again, you have to understand this is the first time that girl's ever had a promo outside of the crowd ever. So, and we still watching Mercedes Monet, so I'm gonna let it die just a little bit.
Yo, she had the Sting mask on.
How you gonna mush her like that? She
That
said,
was her-
yeah.
This is
Oh.
so good.
That was
Damn, she
her
mushed her. She
They
really
have
is
not
from
touched
Pittsburgh.
There.
They have not
That was
touched.
her ode to him.
Y'all see
but she
that,
didn't
right?
see him, yeah.
Touch.
Oh. She said, since it's on site. It's
Oh,
on
they
site.
touch. What did Life Jennings say? Must be nice.
It is funny
Ultimately,
every
like,
time.
it should have been me.
because it's
It should have
also
been
the
me.
fact that the mask.
Good.
It
This
Sting
is so
doesn't
good.
wear a
Britt got
mask.
Rick got that I'm gonna beat your ass around the back corner braid on. That
Right.
listen.
Oh boy, they about
Hey,
to
man. I was a Pittsburgh
Oh,
girl.
back-to-back
You gotta
women's
come ready. They love
segment.
hockey and they
She's from Pittsburgh.
She from Pittsburgh. Watch your back,
She's like,
Mercedes.
it's 5 of you and it's one of her. I'm gonna get through y'all eventually.
Not in
The
Pittsburgh.
stain mask is dope. I love
Yes.
it.
But that was old because she didn't get a chance to see him when she wasn't there when he did this.
Oh, they're showing the clip of Mariah beating Tony to the high heavens.
Shit. I want to shout out my mom. I just found out that she's been watching. Hey mom, love
Hey.
you.
Your mom is an influencer. I don't care what anyone says. I'm sorry.
She is an influencer. She is one of the most amazing people I've ever known, and I've known her a long time.
I hope so.
You're so lucky.
Bro. But
Wow, this is good shit,
I'm
yo.
asking guys to give the NIL people some grace.
Yo, siendo, let them catch on Tuesday. We're running out of time.
I know. We're gonna talk about it.
I'm gonna say we're running out of time, and Mariah's hitting with the shoe.
So I want to thank everyone for coming through to this week's TWG fan club, our weekly wrestling fan club with me and my wonderful crew. We are streaming on YouTube and Facebook because we lost our Twitter connection. But I think this is probably a good thing because we got to see Dylan. We got to meet all our new VIP members in the fan club. So thank you so much for watching. And my mom is able to watch because she doesn't have Twitch. So I love that. So we may just stream on other platforms. And maybe we will watch that the Mariah May, whatever Mariah May has to say before we close out, if the crew is cool with that. But real quick, I do want to just run down everything that's happening in the TWG network right now. We touched on already where you can find Ciendo B on Tuesday nights. And I'll let her plug that when she does her plug. And of course, Justin is all over as well. You'll find out where he's at. Just Google Brian H. Waters, celebrity status. You find out where he's up to.
Superstar.
Yeah. Superstar. Hollywood. Oh, my mom, she doesn't know how to comment, but she appreciates all the love. Love you, Mom. Love you so much. But we do have a new show entering the TWG network. I will be going live every Monday night before Raw, talking about all of the fun wrestling news that happens outside of the ring with some of your favorite wrestlers. A little sneak peek into next week. We'll talk about OnlyFans collaborations. We'll talk about new signings, new movies, new video game cameos, red carpet appearances, and what's happening in Cleveland. All the fun shit you could do in Cleveland that is not a wrestling match. And let me tell you, you're going to want to tune in and find out all about that. And the playback will be available on YouTube and on our Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, God. Tout? Oh, shit.
TikTok before TikTok.
Cameo.
It's like, Elon, we done fucked up. We got tout now.
Tout.
If you can hit me on the tout.
Justin, that's hilarious. Oh, man. So are we watching the promo, Mariah May's promo as a family?
What you think, boss?
Come on, it's up to you. You think we should?
Let's do it. Let's watch it as a family.
We can do
and we'll close out after that. How's that?
I'm down.
All right. So on my VIP, that's in the we are staying on to watch this with everybody. So make sure you are tuned into AEW Dynamite right now and put in all your live reactions to the Mariah May promo after her epic heel turn against Toni Storm. Do we have another commercial that we can run real quick? Producer?
I just saw the
producer man.
Real quick, I sent y'all a clip of Jackie playing wingman and connecting Rhea Ripley to Jey Uso and Mommy.
Ooh,
so
spicy.
All right.
How'd she do it? Yeet.
She was like, yeet.
Yeah.
Yeet.
Yeet. Let's take that break.
Well, then you allowed to talk your shit.
When she was developing like her character and stuff like that, and how at first, going back to how hard it is being following in like such big footsteps when you're, royalty, wrestling royalty, is they didn't want her to woo at first.
Yeah, they didn't.
And want her to lean too much into the Flair thing. And she came out how everybody comes out or thinks that they should come out with, the whole like, so happy to be here. Blah, blah, blah. That's so unlike her. Like I look at these photos and I'm just like, that beautiful.
She looks like she could be a Cullen from Twilight.
Like Krista.
She's a missing Cullen at this point.
No, seriously. Like,
Yo,
did she call her a missing Cullen?
She definitely did.
Woo!
Did he just
here we
beat
go.
up Brandon Cutler? Yo,
Oh,
I'm
y'all
sorry.
behind.
Yeah, I'm really behind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because right now I have Superstar.
Whoa, she did not just do that.
Yep.
Oh, it's like I
No.
might be behind right now. I'm seeing Tony looking gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Tony, that's Mariah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's
First of all,
Mariah.
I just said it's not Tony, it's Mariah. When you don't see Luca, it's not Tony.
What?
I didn't catch that till it went to Technicolor, and we were like, oh.
Yeah, when it was in black and white.
I was
she did it
distracted by the
Wait.
hottage of Mariah. Shit.
You can't tell them hips ain't the same, boy. You can
Right.
tell when it's Tony Storm.
I mean,
versus
she
when
got
it's
the
Mariah May.
robe on. I can't look at the yeekage to be like, yo,
No,
are they
Tony
quadrilateral with each other?
Tony-
Like
Guys.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Like,
guys,
I can't check.
this is so good.
We said the same thing. We said the same thing.
Oh my god. Okay, Mariah
She got
May
me.
is on my list. Mariah
Leave
May.
me
oh
alone,
my God,
Seattle.
this
She
is
got
so
me.
good. This is
Justin,
so
she
good.
got Justin. She got
got
Justin.
me.
We thought it was Tony, and I was like, wait, that is not Mariah May coming out as Tony Storm.
I mean, I couldn't see, ass so fat you could see it from the front. She had the robe. I was distracted.
Yo, let me get this button ready just in case. Just in
What?
case. Make some changes to the lineup tonight.
Said he goes to
You can't kick me out on my birthday week.
Oh, but earlier your birthday week was over. It's never over. We love you.
It's
Justin.
never
It's
over.
never over. But you could
It's
also
n-
still get kicked out the club.
It's never over when you're dealing with Justin Rich.
Yo, the fact that
It-
Dylan is holding this against Tony Storm is so funny.
I mean, I get it. It's like being like you're from New York City. It's like, nah, you from White Plains. That shit don't count.
Oh wait, I ain't know.
We ain't
she
clown- we ain't
was
counting
from
that.
Australia, from
County.
New Zealand. That's a big deal, right?
It's like, nah, I'm from the city. I know you from Ronkonkoma. Get out of here with that.
Ooh.
Yo, it's been a while. Because it's been going on since after the last All In, right?
I don't think so, because I don't think Tony was timeless yet, last All In.
Hold on.
Because remember, last All In, Saraya got the title.
Not her calling what's the name of old horse child.
Oh shit. I love it.
If the horse fits.
But you still look like her though. Yo, I'm even getting heated just looking at this promo. I'm like, how dare you?
I'm so into her. Oh my goodness.
I need for her and Mina to have a match before All In happens. That's all I want. That's all I want. Because even Mina was like, what are you doing?
Tony, I have never loved you more than when you were on your bleeding, crying,
Oh, I love this so much.
It's crazy how identical they look.
Uh-huh.
This is gonna be great.
Because now all elite wrestling will be at full now.
Ooh, that's gonna be a busy weekend in August.
Do we think that Tony's gonna drop the timeless gimmick in Wembley Stadium, or do you think she's keeping it?
I hope not, because the timeless gimmick's
That's a great
been working
question.
for her so good.
She's even crawling on the floor like her.
And I
This is
want to
crazy.
see like how she plays up being angry like in that character. Like she's gonna be so like, I can't believe you did this to me. Love it. Chill.
Oh no, here comes fucking Castaway. Now this is where I draw the line. Juice Robinson.
Castaway.
Wilson, look, I have created
Y'all
fire. Juice Robinson ass.
Y'all shocked me when we found out that Tony and Juice Robinson were married. I was like, excuse me,
The who?
but then it all that
Yeah, Tony and Juice are married, are husband and wife.
Tony and Juice are married.
She married Castaway. God damn it, Tony.
But I was like, excuse me, but then it makes sense
Does it?
because he was like peeing on his opponents at the time. So I was like, all right, they both got their own little creative outlet. You never knew that when they would pin their opponents. You never seen that. You have to watch an episode of Rampage. There's an episode of Rampage. Literally, it was when he just joined, like the whole him and what's the name just became
That
a
was
faction.
great.
They literally they won the Bang Bang Club. I won, and he literally walked in like a dog and peed on his opponent. Like
He peed on his leg like Diddy did Drake?
That's
no,
why
like
I'm so- I'm
pretended
with
to be
you,
like a
Dylan,
dog.
I'm
He's
confused.
crazy. I'm gonna find the clip and show you.
Yeah,
find
show
the
me.
clip that-
I need video evidence of this debacle. God damn.
It was something stupid, but it was
First
something on
off,
brand.
Can we talk about how perfect it was for us to talk about the state of women's wrestling when AEW women were like just killed it? Like we got to watch Nyla Rose versus Mercedes, and then this
Yeah.
Mariah May promo, and then that video package. And see, I think you're right. I think AEW is getting way better with their video packages.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think it just makes you just more invested. So this was a really, really exciting fan club. And I was able to talk about something that I'm like really passionate about. And I love that there's so many women's feuds right now that I feel hot. There's a lot of new signings. There's so much happening right now. And I'm glad
Mhm.
that we got to talk about it in the fan club tonight. And also, you know, I hate that we weren't on Twitter, but I think streaming on the other platforms really opened up the audience tonight, and we were able to hear from a lot of amazing people. So thank you everyone that tuned in, and we will be going live, I think, on YouTube for now on. And Dylan, you were why we went overtime, so thank you for that. I'm glad we all got to watch this because it was pretty fucking epic, and we might need to do a Mariah May moment graphic or some shit moving forward, because when I say I am tuned the fuck into whatever she is doing, I am tuned in. So let's do a lightning round of which one woman that we have our eye on. We'll do a fast lightning round, and then the crew will let you guys know where to find them, and then we will see you next week. I'll go first. Mariah May.
Me too.
Biter. No, you can't choose the same one.
What? I
You
said
can't
me
choose the same
too.
one.
said-
Oh, I thought
said
you
me
said
too.
me too. Okay.
Uh.
Yep. Here for that. Here for that. Love that.
I mean, the one, the only, the Yeek Master, Miss Jada Parker.
Ooh, good one.
Harder did the dance in the chair.
I can't wait for these gifts. Dylan's gonna be working overdrive.
who am I looking at? There's so much to choose from. Oh my god! But we still deserve to give Lash Legend a belt. Hashtag give Lash Legend a belt movement. So Lash Legend. Sorry,
I love it.
I'm always gonna root for sis.
Yes. I'm looking into all of those women as well. And there's still more that we could have talked about tonight. So we'll definitely do these State of the Women's Wrestling episodes more often, and then we'll have Krista B on as well because she's been tuning into everything.
We can make it like a
yes, I love everything about that. And let me know, guys, in the VIP, what do you guys want to talk about next week? What do you guys want to talk about? We can talk about anything in wrestling. So I'm very open to ideas. I mean, we got a long list, but I'm very open to ideas that our VIPs bring to the table, because this is for you guys. This is a club for all of us. Like, we are hosts, but this is really truly a wrestling fan club, and it's nothing without all of our VIP members. Shout out Rakarsha, Dylan, Matt, Vaughn, Andre, Keith was in the building, my mom, and we just love all of you, and just the support that TWG Network has been giving us is amazing. Thank you so much. Where can everybody find the crew?
You can find me on all social media platforms at It's Justin Rich. You can find me here live on Those Wrestling Girls Twitch or YouTube or Twitter channels for TWG Fan Club. Myself, these three beautiful, amazing, intelligent co-hosts of mine. You can find me Tuesday nights, Twitter Spaces on Black Wrestling's handle. For The Buckle, myself, Mimi, and Corey, we talk all things wrestling. You can find me from time to time on True Hill Heat Sports and True Hill Heat Wrestling, both of those channels located on YouTube, where we talk sports, wrestling, and all that fun stuff. We here, we outside, we active. Salute to the women of all wrestling companies. Y'all doing amazing work. Keep doing your shit.
You find me at Brian H. Waters on all social media platforms. Check out Ring of Wrestling Worldwide After Dark on the Ring of Wrestling show. Check out tomorrow's episode of The Masked Man. Just know it's an episode you'll want to tune into. Last week was Chelsea Green. You don't know what we got cooking this week. Also, Wrestling Realm Now podcast tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to talk about Rhea Ripley's return bout at SummerSlam. And last but certainly not least, Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, where I talk about how not to get fired while looking at Donald Trump tweets and why Skip Bayless is perfect for the WWE.
I did get a chance to tune into that episode. It's very good. You should check it out.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Beautiful.
Now it's your turn.
What is Justin doing? I got so distracted. I'm sorry. Even when you're not catching me when you're not catching me here with the three best friends that anybody can have on Wednesday nights here on TWG Fan Club, you can catch me on Watch What Happens NXT. We're doing watch party mode coming this Tuesday because I did not see one last night. It's going to be a treat because the person over here to my left will be joining me for all the shenanigans.
Yes.
There's a lot of good matches happening next week. A lot of good things that are happening. It looks like we're leading to Tatum Paxton going full circle against Connie Jordan, actually going full circle against her first ever WWE NXT opponent in Tatum Paxton, because Tatum says she is done with Izzy Dame and now she is going to get the NXT North American Championship from another dog called Kalani Jordan. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, we are going to find out if it's true. Is Trick Williams and as much hype as he is without the NXT Championship? Also, a lot of good matches that are coming out to the fold. We will also digest the first 30 minutes of the show. We'll be fully devoted to the top 5 matches in the last 6 months of NXT. I will be giving you my top 5 matches because there are people that don't know how to grade matches properly, and the only person that knows how to do a perfect scoreboard is sitting right here. So why not do a scoreboard edition?
Oh my God, we gotta bring that back.
We are bringing it back. We are bringing it back. We're going to bring it back just in time for SummerSlam. Just go and dive into All In. I've taken a hiatus, I know, but I want to give fair critiques. I'm going to change the criteria a little bit. I'm going to give you guys all what you deserve, what you really deserve. And that's fair ratings on all your favorite women's wrestling, because the state of women's wrestling has evolved back to people who couldn't even tell you how many times Hulk Hogan has pumped his fist in the ring. There needs to be taught by a different state of people, and that's by the people who love wrestling the most, and that is us. So yes, this Tuesday again, I will be giving you my top 5 6 months matches of all time and bringing back the scoreboard. And I can't wait for y'all to tune in this Tuesday. But other than that, you can follow me on all my social media platforms. Reload.relive. Don't add me on no creepy shit because that's been happening lately. And Reload via film here on X. And I'm also on YouTube, also on Ciendo B. You can look me up here on YouTube, and also follow the Watch What Happens NXT Instagram because I am going to be getting live. I'm going to be doing a lot more posting, a lot more polls.
Yay.
So please get interactive. And shout out to everybody else who's reporting on NXT because we need more, y'all. Sorry, my closing my hand. We need more of you and everybody else who's talking about women's wrestling. The Alexes and the us, the Trinas, and everybody else who's still doing the work. Us doing the work, especially here on TWG. We do it for y'all who also love women's wrestling.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was a perfect way to close it out. Again, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
The fact that wrestling now is a part of like everyday conversation again, and you can go to so many different outlets in pop culture right now and see WWE represented in some way. First of all, this is the red carpet premiere of a Netflix original series, and WWE is there represented, looking. Everyone is 10 out of 10, and I want one of these. Like, we need to be recognized as well. Oh, yay! So what I love about these crossovers, and I was just in Charlotte and I could have easily got Bojangles, is that so many people that live out of state, because Bojangles is southern as fuck, hit me up like, oh my god, like what you can get at Bojangles, and I'm like, yeah, give me this one. But I also love that he is super busy outside of WWE. He was recently at what has been dubbed by the media as the wedding of the century. Let's watch this future world champion and Big E play EA Sports College Football 25.